Maayong gabi kaninyong tanan. Ania na ang atong programa, ang Ukisyo.
Dapat
Kini
gahi.
si Iceman.
Dapat gahi. Bili humok. That's what she said. Oh,
Strike one ka na, Rod Rodriguez. Baka kung kang dako ang atong sabot magbinisaya ta karong gabi na.
mauna na siya. Mauna dyan ni Ron. Mauna na. Good night.
Strike two. Maayong gabi kaninyong tanan. Ania na ang inyong mga higala. Kini si Iceman.
Paghilom. Kini si Rod Rodriguez.
Uga ko si Pinky.
Nya sa may ato karong gabi na.
Ambot kay
Sa may tirada ni.
istoryahan sa nato sila
Amo.
ngano ta ing ani karong adlaw karong gabi
Kinsay
una
nagpasiug dani. Kinsa may
Si Pinky man. Taga Cebu man si Pinky. So si Pinky.
Uy, dili, oy.
Kinsay nagpasio
Oy.
ani. Kinsay nagpasio.
Oh. Kana lang na i-pink microphone dia. Kadali lang. Ngano kinahanglan may isog if Bisaya? Wala mangisog man. Si Strike one!
Kinsay tirada. Kinsay tirada.
Si Pinky.
Wala
Strike
ka
one,
dungog.
ako, strike
Wala
two.
ka dungog.
Ako strike
Wala ka
na.
Sarang ng style
Alam
ni
kina-
Mismo nga
Kano
Bisaya.
kinahanglan isog? Kung Bisaya
Isog.
dapat isog ba? Pwede lambing?
Dili
Kanang
kay ang
isog.
Bisaya manggod.
Unsa
Mao gyud na
isog?
siya.
Ilonggo na ilambing na isog.
Dili kay Bisaya pinabundak man jud ang Bisaya. Pag Bisaya gi mustura bundak jud na.
So dili pwede nang
Ngilad man pod og humo kaayo. Maayong gabi.
Pero ang-
pwede ra
Unsay
ko.
imo?
Wa may masoko
Unsa
rod
magpariban?
kung
Magpariban
lambing
magpariban
imong
ka sa.
binisaya.
Dili kay pag sugod sa man ni salida, dili mo ni salida. Pag sugod sa programa,
Sa programa.
sugod sa programa.
Dili.
Si
Okay.
Iceman. Kani
Okay.
mo na ni ang atong
Okay.
Ini.
Murag
Kung tayo din mo
bubutong
palit
ugat ba?
kag
Murag bubutong ugat.
tayo din mo palit kag siupaw. Masuko day kadayon mo sa.
Mao
Te,
lagi.
papalita kag
Muna.
siupaw te. Pwede man ka kinahanglan mo ingon dayon.
Dili.
Te, palita kag
Oh.
siupaw be.
Kay
Kay
permanente man.
Yan
Kaya
sa
ako
atin.
amahan.
Wana hutan
Kaya
mi
ako
kiring.
amahan.
Hutan mi kiring.
ang ako amahan
Ilaga ray na.
tong bata pa ko, kusog mamina, masika tong dagko nami, kusog maminaw og AM akong papa. Pag maminaw kag AM nga mga programa,
kana noon.
isog mo ng mga
Kana noon.
tigpamaba diha. Kini
Sige,
ang
sample.
inyong tigpamaba sa kahanginan.
Ang papa ni
Hilom.
Iceman. Pero minay kabayo, no?
Baita pa minahon stig
Sige na, sige, kabayo.
kahina, no?
Ani na. Ako ang abrihan ng portahan. Uy, unsa man ni ako nakita?
Mo nakatawa na.
Naglingkod siya.
Drama ba? Tanan nila
Nay, ginakaon.
Tanan ginauna ginalitok. Ngano man siya? Ako kasi sakit na kayo.
Abrihan na nako ang pultahan. Nganong naingana gyud.
Ani
Nalibang
ako
ako,
tindog sa
nalibang
ko, kaya
kayo.
ako asiyang storyahon.
Di man nimo makitaan good. Mao kinahanglan nila ingnon tanan kadatikang.
Lagi.
Pero bitaw
Mangugmo
inyohan
ko.
ang
Dako kay
inyohan
kugkog
ang istorya nganong ini ta karong gabi una og unsay buhaton sa maka-in English og kalima.
Kalima ba to?
Kahibaw.
Kalima.
Pwede pud na pulo kay nakaisa namang
Sirod ikaduha. Sirod
Ice,
ikaduha.
Nakalimot
Si Pinky,
ka.
isa.
Dapat pag
Wala.
Ice.
Wala.
Dapat pagsulti nimo Ice, pag intro nimo dapat niingon kag Rod Rodriguez, pasok.
Oy,
Pinky, pasok.
Tagalog ng pasok.
Strike
Pa-
3 na po.
pasok.
Dili,
Tulog.
dili, paglitok, pasok. Bisaya,
Rod Rodriguez,
pasok.
sulod.
Dili man.
Sulod na do.
Sulod.
Pasok.
Dili, pero Dili, pero sa mga Bisaya na news,
wala.
lang yan dito.
Tulo.
Dili, no. Pangalan ni mo, Pinky. English man na. Oh. Gusto may Bisaya sa Pinky? Pinky.
Unsa na lang.
Pangalan man na. Oh, sulod man
Iceman.
good. Oh.
Wala may Bisaya ang ice.
Sulod.
Oh. Wala may Bisaya ang ice. Pwede pala ice. Wala man. Ice drop, ice candy.
Nang, naamoy.
Kasi Bisaya.
Ice, baby. Dang.
Oy.
Ice.
Oy, ang ikaduhang word.
Kanta.
Kanta mo na. Kanta mo na.
Tulo
So,
na dito.
okay lang.
Kadungog ko atong WORD. Tulo na to. Sa paita. Wa pa
Nagsabot na
tay.
na. Kanta, pangalan.
30 minutos guys, istorya. Tulo na ang paltos ni Rod. Wa.
Kung sa Bisaya sa ice. As drop. Ambot ka. Kasi puntuan ni.
So,
Unsa ba jud?
Ingani na lang
So,
sila taman. Istorya no kay
Pinky. Oh,
Unsa man?
Pinky.
Unsa man?
Saan niya?
Kabuang ang taga-Japan. No?
Kailangan ano siya?
Ale, kinahanglan.
Kinahanglan.
Strike one.
Temsa. Walay labot ang Tagalog. Walay labot ang Tagalog. English ang atong istoryahan. Ang naistoryahan na tong
Saba, pero sige po tagi-og strike one. Strike one, English man na.
Sige. Strike one. Pildi gid ni si Rod. Rex lang ni.
Tulo pa lang.
Kinahanglan masabtan sa atong mga tigpaminaw karong gabi una nganong na ingon ani ni siya.
Upat na ni si
Ikaw-
Rod.
Ikaw pat na.
Kalima.
Hindi kinahanglan nato ipasabot sa atong mga tigpaminaw karong gabi una nganong niabot ta sa ingon ani nga sitwasyon.
Ani man gud napansin na mo ba nga sa mga labi na sa mga batan-on karon di na gani kahibaw magbinisaya. Wa may dautan kung di ka kahibaw magbinisaya, pero nindot pud nang usahay ba gamiton pud nato atong pagkabinisaya kay sa tinud-anay lang katong nagpuyo kog laing nasod no taod man pud to alami alagi pag-uli sa Pilipinas ba alami alagi binisaya makadungog kag binisaya kay istorya na kayo kasabot na ko didto nindot pud nang atong gamiton atong pagkabisaya ba di ba Rod di ba
Tinod na.
Si Pinky man ko taga Lapu-Lapu sa Cebu. Mo na. Taga Lapu-Lapu.
Dili
sa
actually
Cebu.
di ko ba
ACTUALLY. Dilitok. Pasok.
Did you
Sana
kasi
man ako
buwan
makauban, ay.
Saman.
Pero
Dako,
muyon
gyud
ko
ko diri.
sa
Ayos, mangutan ako. Unsay bagong sapatos imong
Gisulti
gipalit
ni
gani
Pinky.
katong bago lang nimo gipalit sa gito? Katong bago lang nimo gipalit
Unsang
na
sapatos,
nag-sale.
Lima na, wala,
Oy,
human na. Tara, uli
Wala may
na ta.
Bisaya ang SALE. Wala
Wala.
may Bisaya ang SALE.
Di okay ra
Bisaya.
to kay ang sale
Pasilon.
wala may laing
May Bisaya.
wala may
Bitaw,
laing
bitaw
unsaan na
Sa Manday,
kanang kabinisayaan na. So,
So may Bisaya
Temsa,
sa
pero muyon ko
SALE.
atong gisulti ni Pinky. Kay
Saman.
katong sa una nga nipuyo ko og Manila, mga 32 ka bulan.
Manels.
Sa Manila man to. Tapos dito ko nagpuyo sa akong igagaw. Nya kato ko mga igagaw dito na nagdako. Ilang ginikanan, no, ang ilang inahan Bisaya, pero sila
No.
dito
Kadungog ko tong
nagi-
no.
dito nagi
1 point si Iceman.
Ha?
No?
Tuna.
Ato na ba?
Oo.
Anong duhaman?
TW.
Di wala man unsa man akong gisulti nga nag sa ikaduha. Wala man ko'y gisulti.
Ningon daw kag no.
No?
No may ang ingon dili. No man murag no.
No nga binisaya.
No.
Siya, no?
Sige.
Oo,
Padayon.
Na may
Dili
diferensya
na
sa
dili.
no ug no.
wala,
No
wala,
ug no.
Mao na to giingon na nimo, mao na to gisulti mo
Dili,
gyapon ni.
Wala ka
kinahanglan
nag-explain
ako
man siya.
pasabot siya unsa
Sige.
kalainan sa
Sige,
duha.
One day ni
So,
kanang
akong-
mangimbento ra tag
Ako
balaod.
mga igagaw puro Tagalog to sila dito. Sulisod kaayo. Kay mangita man jud ka nang imong kinaiya nga binisaya, di ba? So sila dito ang istorya puro Tagalog, unya medyo katawanan sa kuha ba kay lahi ang Tagalog dito kay kanang kabalo lang kanang tinagalugan sa mga taga Manila. Unya lahi man po na tinagalugan sa
Sample
Davao.
daw, sample man. Dili ni appeal, sample man. Sample man. Go.
Sample ha, way labot ha.
Sample.
Natoy, natoy kas-a, nag-away akong igagaw. Tulong na sila man nag-igsuon. Lalaki nya babay. Ang kinamanghuran ng babay, kaning duha ka mag-igsuon, sige ni sila bugno, sige
Ang duha ka laki,
sige.
pilang bayi.
Oh.
Laybay ng bugno sa Bisaya, di ba? Bugno kanang ana man na bugno.
Bugto. Bugto na siya rod kanang bugto.
Dili bugno ba? Kanang asawa nagbugno gabi wa ko katulog ana ba di ba? Bugno mo man pasabot.
Bastos
nagkinulatahay ba? Dili, uy.
Time sa pakunuman sa kustorya. So, katong adlaw, nagsumpaki silang duha. Nagsumpaki.
Abi na ko ako igagaw.
Hindi, ang mga lalaki na nagsumpaki. Ang babae kinamanghuran man.
Pero apil. Katong murag lutang na pusil, sumpaki.
Sumpak. Right to.
Sa man nang sumpaki.
Ang babae, naapil sa storya kay nisyagit siya. Nisyagit siya ba kay nagbugno na ang duha, sumpaki. Pero ting syagit niya og saklolo. Saklolo. Pero tinakong katawa kay di man ko kadungog ana sa tuwa. Tabang. Di ba?
Tinood nga ang mga
kanang saklolo, makita ko na sa TV. Sa TV, sa mga radyo. Kalit lang ni syagit og saklolo.
Mo nang gibuhat ni Lola. Saklolo.
Tara, diha ni mo mailan si Rod naglisod na kay pero binuang nila istorya. Niligid ka storya.
Unsa na lay mo sud sa
Unsa gibuhat ni Lola? Saklolo. Oh.
Kasabot man ta kani si Rod Iceman ni siya kay
moingon
moingon kuno ay siya dito daw siya ni eskwela sa Kapitan Tomas. Pero ang tinuod ana ang iyang lula mo principal dito. Mo certo principal dito, di ba? Tapos pagkahuman ni
Kapalmahil to nagprinsipal oy dili Kapitan Tomas. Si ang principal
basta dako to granggoy ang lula dito. Tapos nato siya Amerika, unya di balin pag Germany, unya daghan na siya gadto ang mga lugar. So ang
sa katinudan.
Mas daghan ni siya, mas komportable ni siya sa inistoryang in Amerikano.
Unsa man? Unya piki na pagka makakaboy nako, piki na. Piki
nakaupat na gani ka. Wa pa tay 20 minutos. Hapit
na
mahurot
minutos, kaupat na 15 minutos pa lang.
Nakuratan mo ko kay Iceman god kay magstorya ming Iceman kanang namo na siya accent na murag taga Orange County ba sa California. Nya ni kalit ra magngingog, "Mo na ni ron." Kanina magdili.
Mauna kini ang programa karong gabi. Mga tigpamaba sa kahanginan.
Ito pa mga stasyon nimo, unsa tong una nimo na stasyon? Power. Ikaduha, unsa tong kaduha?
Power.
K-Light.
K-Light. Hindi na
Bisaya dito.
91 na to.
Nya nagkill mo gani. Nya ni kalit ra magnahimo na mahinoong murag field reporter sa TV Patrol.
Pagka Bisaya di man gud na mawa gud bisag unsa
siguro. Kailangan kinahanglan man gud nga kabalo ka sa pamaagi sa mga broadcaster nga Bisaya. Muna sa mga AM, mga broadcaster dito, mga gahi, sila Dudong Solis, John Pala.
Kana no, tinudanay lang kanang ingana nga binisaya, maglisod jud ko usahay og sabot. Kanang hasta kalawom ba? Natoy kasa nga ni nagsimba ko Cebu. Wa tinuod lang wa jud koy nasabtan bitaw sa kanang istoryas pare.
Unsa may bot pasabot na antak na? Mo gina kundi masabtan. Sige ko kadung
antak na karong buntaga.
Antak na. Unsa man antak na? Hantak?
Wan man na.
Antak na.
Kanta man na, di ba? Ning tak na ang
takna. Unsa man ang takna? Mo na siya? Takna?
Kada ko ano yung
takna?
Ano yung mo na takna. Plastic balloon ba?
Takla.
Ora gyapon na. Takla.
Pero sa unsa pod makita pod nimo nga gabago ang binisaya sa Davao ba kay hinumdum ko tong siguro elementary lahi man ang inistoryahan sa Bisaya kaysa tong high school nako kay
wala madunggan nga Bisaya takna oras hour takna daw matud pa ni Jong Tuhan ang takna kay hour so oras
karon kay bawo na ta
wala lagi nagingon na oras ba niingon pa yung hour jud grabe gini si Jong Tuhan social kini tawanan ni
social pod barka
ala nga assumption
pareho mo social
Kanang tig 100 ang baon.
Dili, lisod V, kaya ang among
Kana
sabot
makapalit og
karong
balay sa
adlaw,
Japan.
Bisaya ra jud.
Ba mo na mga
Dili mi
social
pwede
nga makapalit og balay sa Japan.
Di mi pwede
Di,
magkinunyo karong
di.
gabi una.
Maunta akong ingnon katong elementary ko ang binisaya lahi na tong high school nako kay sa una mo ingog kag nikaon na ka tara dungan ta. Pag-abot na kog high school, nagkain ka na, hindi ka man nagsabi, nagsabay sana ako sa iyo. Oh, asa usab ng binisaya na
Asa mo ka
Tagalog.
nag-eskwela, Pinks? Asa mo ka nag-eskwela?
Kanang blue and white. Go. Blue and white.
Atinyo day ka?
Pero ingna kong
Atinyo,
bakakon.
Spinky.
Ana mo
Dato,
istorya ang
Spinky,
uban.
atinyo mo day ni.
Di oy. Unsa ra
Wala
tong
na
nadara
siya.
tong hilot.
Gusto kag sample sa Davao Konyo? Si Kakay, mangod ni Ice, Davao Konyo kay na mustorya, di ba? Naman.
Time sa.
Sige,
Natay mga mensahe. Natay mga
Come on.
mensahe sa atong mga
Panawagan.
paminaw.
Nawala ang baboy.
Mensahe.
Nawala ang baboy.
Mensahe. Pinky, gikan man ka sa Ateneo. Lahi, jud ang binisaya dito. Kabalo ko kay dito pod ko
Diba?
gikan.
Di ba?
Mao
Dito,
ba?
pero tinuod lang
Sa may lahi
mag-dress
dito.
balay, binisaya gid mi. Nya dili ka nang pinatagalog nga Bisaya ba? Mao to katong paglabi na tong college ko siguro. Unsa man nilang lahi man nilang inistoryahan. Wa pa man ko kadungog og nagkain ka na dumating na si teacher. Karon pa meron na si teacher, meron na si teacher.
Ug matud pa ni Gabriel Decades, matud pa kuno niya adunay kabaghuan sa binisaya sa Sugbo ug diri sa Davao.
Dako gyud. Dako ang
Unsa may
difference.
kabaghuan?
Gabriel Decades. Kaunong kagbuhi ana.
Taga Bisayas man ka
Taga
Gabriel
kuha na.
Decades, unsa may
Taga
kabaghuan?
Ormoc na. Taga
Ormoc
Ormoc.
man na siya. Nanang
Si Kakay,
kunyo. Nanang kunyo. Hello.
Kunyo. Wala Davao. Ang reyna sa Davao Konyo, si Kakay Lucero. Mo na siya. Gusto ka makadungog pa unsa mag-proper Davao Konyo kini. Kakay. Mayroon gina siya. Kuya, uy! Ano ka man, uy!
Pero time sa. Karong gabi una, pagkahimuon na mo ni sa isa lang ka oras, magbinisaya
Usara
mo
ka
sa
oras
isa ka
kay
oras.
murag.
Ay, salamat. Ay, salamat.
Isa ka
Aloy
oras.
ana to si Rod.
Sa ikaduhang oras sa
Dili,
programa, mubalik mi
Hawat
sa
ko mo Bisaya, pero baka ka
sa-
boy Bisaya ko.
mubalik mi sa langyaw nga inistoryahan. Unya ang atong pagastoryahan ang atong kultura, ang kultura nga dili kay maayo nga kultura
Ayaw.
sa mga Pilipino.
Sama
Ayaw,
sa.
tuloy na na.
Halo gini si Jong ba? Dili na giingog
Jong,
Jong, padayon na na.
Nagdumot ka kay Rod. Nagdumot ka kay Rod. Ayaw, tuloy na na.
Oy, magstorya ning Jong, Bisaya ba may magstorya? Mga na ba ako kay Jong, Jong, na tong imong PRS na tag 250,000? Ana yung magstorya ba? Wala pa ba? Kato akong 300,000 lang niabot. Ana na ba? Kasabot si Iceman,
Sige Rod, Bisaya ha.
Sabot ko, gitara ng istoryahan na eh.
Sample kay Rod. 1995.
Alangan!
Bisaya Rod.
Sige.
Believe na ko, 1995.
1995.
1995.
Ay, wa na.
Ay, Bisaya.
Wala.
Wa agad. Piki ni.
Oza.
1995. 1995 na, Rod.
Kabalo sa Iceman na mo nang tuig na natuli siya. Mo na di sa kalimot. Mo na. No.
Basta Bisaya ang istorya puro bulatik. Jong, basta Bisaya ang istorya puro butbot. Puro binutbot.
Saon man na Jong. Kaya sa mga news, sa balita, pakatok yapon kanang loto, pakatok. Di man Bisaya ng loto no, Tagalog man na no. Tagalog man na loto.
Kung papilion ka,
Bisaya.
Papilion ka. Usara ka inistoryahan imong pwede gamiton tibuok tuig. Tuig ra. Hangyo tagamay. English, Bisaya, Tagalog. Sorry. Way labot English. Tagalog ug Bisaya lang. Kay sayon naman kay nga itubag ang English.
Bisaya ra ko. Lisod magtinagalog. Di magud natural.
Dili siya natural. Labi na sa ato.
Pero katuliging na ako sa Manila nga 3 ka bulan, mingawon jud ko binisaya. Mo na manawag ko sa akong mga higala. Nya magbinisaya ra mi sa telepono.
Bisaya.
Ilocano man ko.
Bisaya. Imo Bisaya Ice. Di ka ganahag Tagalog. Ikaw Rod. Bisaya, Tagalog. Usara imong pwede istoryahon sa sulod sa usa ka tuig.
Tibok tuig. Siguro Tagalog.
Tagalog.
Mas
Social.
siya kanang kung
Diba?
Dili man
Social.
Dili man kaya ang mga parente nako dili naman gud
Dili.
Sultian di ka.
Dagan man siya-
Sultihan di
dagan
ka.
man siya
O
parente
manaw
good Manila good.
ug manawag
sa
wala
tinuod
mga
lang.
parente
Sila nga
diri,
ng
ug
Bisaya na sila.
manawag
Paminaw.
sila unsaon man ako bisayaon ako akong papa di ka sabot.
Tama.
Paminaw.
Akong mama
Okay.
Bisaya kay to.
Ah.
Pero akong papa mga igsuon dili to kabalong Bisaya.
Mo nang mga dagkong
Ano man na-
bakak nga gikan kay Rodriguez mga higala.
Unsa
Kaniya
man
mga
bakak
bakak.
unsa man.
Sweeto na siya mamakak. Ang tinuod jud ani. Kani si Rod Rodriguez.
Isuga gini Bisaya oy.
Nganong mura naman ka ng
Pasaylo ako ninyo mga higala kay mura ba kay
Wa makaisala oy pasayloon.
akong gisulti kaganiha.
Dirahi.
Akong amahan kusog mamina og EM nabalita.
Taraos ka
Balo na
kayo.
ka ng mga
Never
broadcaster
kagod.
ka ng mga
Oh,
announcer.
wala. Nigawas na ang bakakon, kinsay bakakon. Ang mangod na mismo ni Sulti. Never kagod nagabisaya sa FaceTime. Ay. Kana. Wala naman ako yung
ito
pasabot.
may
Ana.
kasturya sa imong
akong
kuya.
kasturya. Siya man
Oo.
akong kasturya. Alang nga naman kabalo na ka sa
So
Deo, balik ta.
Dili na.
Balik ta.
Wala o change topic.
Kini si Rod.
Mana, unom na.
Maayo kay nimo.
Wala may Bisaya change topic.
Lusot-lusot. Tay kani mo lusot-lusot. Lusot-lusot. Lahion ang istorya. Awa
Pasayloon,
pakakon pa jud
pasayloon.
tayo. So kaning tawhanan ni may kini siya mulusot-lusot. Pilosopo biya ning tawhanan ni. So kaning tawhanan ni may kini siya mulusot-lusot pero sa tinuod na iyahara nang ginagamit yang mga kapamilya, yang amahan, yang inahan nga magtinagalog daw pero sa tinuod na og moduol na siya mga chicks, og moduol na siya mga babaeng gwapa. Kaning tawhanan ni magtinagalog gyud ni dili gini siya magbinisaya. Dili na magbinisaya, tinagalog dayon na. Tinagalog ang tirada na.
English oy. English. Sumot na ko ba na ko si Mau? English oy.
Aka to English to.
Tara,
Naglibog
nanggawan.
kay katotohanan to nga gikan
Kitang
na
katag.
Cebu. Di puyo mtog Cebu, di ba?
O bitaw pud no, di
Depende
kita
man
siya
na, bay.
kahibaw magbinisaya.
Sa Cebu siya nag-college. O kolehiyo. Sa Cebu.
Sa
Sa-
pinabundak
sa-
yun
sa-
ba?
sa eskwelahan?
Swito kayo na og bakak. Kay bakako na siya, Jong. Bakakon.
Hindi ko mo English. Kay dili man ako pwede Bisayaon eh. Only a ninja can capture a ninja. Oh.
Ninja ray makadakops ninja, pastilan.
Kana. No, ninja nakapula. Awa. Nang ninja dia. Ninja cool.
Pagpasahon nato ning mensahe ha, pero in English man gud so basahon nato. So
Sige, pasayloon na to na.
If
Pasayloon
Killer
na
B
to.
Magic would be
Sige.
in an AM station, this would be a preview of it. Mao
Slang
ba?
man dayon. Grabe.
Ninja ray mo patay ninjo. Ninja ray mo
patay
patay ninjo.
Nay mo mang
Ano?
bulanon.
Hindi ko na Bisaya. Bulanon man na.
Bulanon.
Ija ho
Ayog
aho.
damay. Ayog damay si Primo. Sani ninja rin mo patay
Mo nang
ninja.
aircon di kay iniigang naman.
Kalimot ng Bisaya,
Hambog og aircon.
Lagi ang
Di kay
remote.
kapagyo man gud diri sa Japan.
Split type.
Tulo na kaadlaw. Tulo na
Init
kaadlaw
daw
nga
sa
bundak
Japan.
ang ulan. Tulo na kaadlaw nga bundak ang ulan, di kay mi gagamit
Unya.
og aircon kay di man igang.
Pero
Karon
alimuot.
igang man kay nagbinisaya mo daw, alimuot kayo. Kay nagbinisaya
Oo
pa yan, ay bakakon sa tong programa, si pamakak, si
Oo, man.
palusot, lisod kayo.
Kalot-kalot
Di
din
kay gangon
mata.
na.
Wala na.
Kalot din mata.
Isa rin marasulti na ko, ana.
Karon ice. Kabalos na ta ni ano.
Nangita
Kasi-
pa
Mao.
ko ni Bisaya kung malutok.
May balaan jud nimo kinsay dili Bisaya diring dapita. Kay siya ra
Uy.
may naglisod. Dili
Kaman.
kaboylo ba? Di kaboylo. Dili
Usa
kaboylo.
bistuhay ni bistuhay.
Boylo.
Usa man bistuhay. Bistuhay.
Kitang katag ani.
Kitang katag ani. Kitang katag.
Bistuhay ni
Kitang katag.
makakon mo ko sa akong ilitok. Ayos litok. Naglitok ko. Usa man. Bistuhay ni bistuhay.
So mga higala kung naamoy mga
Tinuray.
amigo, mga kapamilya nga gusto makapaminaw og binisaya nga programa karong gabi na palihog.
Mao na ni. Muna ni siya. Manawagan
Muna ni siya.
mo.
Hatag ng impormasyon.
Wala ni kahumanan. Sa kaoras
Ang-
naman katay nga ni.
Ang pangutana diri,
Sa oras.
unsa may
Sa
atong
oras ra.
unsay punto ani? Unsa atong
Wala
dapat
gito.
natin
Mo
istoryahan?
bitaw
Di kay mao man yang atong gibutang diri challenge man ni Bisaya challenge special.
Atay
Mao man ni siya. Bisaya challenge.
So,
Kay
ang
puro man
score
ta in English.
pinakadagan og strike ikaw duha, si Pinky tulo, upat.
Grabe po na!
Duha lang. Ako upat. Oh, makapas pa mo. Pwede pa mo mapas. Magulat
Unya,
lang ko din
unsa
ako
man?
tingog-tingog.
Manlibre og grab food.
Wa may grab
Oh,
diri
may labot
Uber
sa
May
Iceman,
lang.
labot,
ani.
may labot sa Iceman. Wala, alkansita.
Mahal kayo sa
kung kita'y
Japan, no?
manilinya.
Hinaunsa. Wag pa, order ka.
Mahal kayo,
Para kay Iceman, mahal.
Mahal.
Ay, pero na ako'y pangutana. Kamo, ginikanan, manggid mo.
Mm.
Oh, di sa ta maghisgot sa inyong mga anak. Kamo sa katong gipadako mo, katong mga gagmay pa mo, elementary mo. Gina-English mas balay. Wa. Kanang, sample
Wala
sample.
ko nga
Kanang,
wala ga English.
you
ang
eat
balay.
na,
Mga
bibi.
kinder, oh.
Because
Wala,
we live
wala,
na,
wala.
bibi.
Sa akong panahon, wala.
Ana,
Sa una,
istorya
oh.
ba?
Wala.
Adi, kanang
una,
sayaya, ibilin mo si yaya.
Wala
Unya,
po.
ang yaya,
Dili,
yaya,
dili, oy.
English.
Tulo ra ba may kalalaki? Way lugar ang English sa
dili.
mong balay?
Oh, karon,
Kanang-
kamo nga mga ginikana naman mo, inyong gina-English inyong anak wa. Kanang, let's
Dili,
go
sige,
na.
pumoisit.
We're going to the
Sige ra ko
na.
pamuisit. Ang akong
Sample na
anak,
to, utay labot.
ang ako kay kusog man ko mamuisit sa balay, ang akong anak kusog
Mm.
kay mamuisit. Ang linya sa akong anak ha, so ani siya labot, ang linya sa akong anak inani oh. Papa, you're buisit. Mo na yung linya sa tinuod lang. So, dili natik. Papa, you're
Maura
buisit.
pa gid na ang
Maura
dili
pa gid
hinapon
ma-
o dili English na yung naibalan. Maura na.
Nakuratan ko si your visit na. Nindot na. Padayon na, padayon.
Ang ako walang kondisyon siya,
Anak
dili
ni
niya himuon
Iceman.
dili niya himuon pag na siya sa laing balay o na siya sa eskwelahan. Bahalag sa mong balay, mamalika siya, unsa ba, okay, wa kay pakialam basta kung nailaing tao na siya sa gawas, pakita siya may pamatasan. Kay lisod man ang mayra nang sa mong balay, awa man po ko'y batasan. So wag winay batasan po siya, okay lang may batasan sa mong balay. Pero pag sa gawas gani, pakita kag may pamatasan kay tama ta sa
Pero may
gawas.
makasabot kayo no. Okay raman, may kay kasabot pero lagdaamoy kauban mga Pinoy, di ba? May kauban
Di,
mga
ang
Pinoy
akong-
buisit.
Ang mamagpapas akong
Murag-
asawa, hastang kurata kay nagsug lagi mamuisit. Nya anak ko siya na, ayaw sa lagi kay na imong lulag-lulo ba? Sana.
Mabisto
Relax
niya.
lang ba?
Ang liso
Nga,
na
lahira ang mga tigulang kay-
Musulti pa gyud sa lolo lola na mga napi sa lolo lola na lolo lola when dad heard you were coming he said buisit. Oh. Well, liso dia. Oh, pwede to exempted to okay, Englishera mo na. Lang
Medyo kayo mo pala lusot si Rod, no? Kay kailangan na gid sa mo, mubugag inyo nato, kailangan sa mo lusot.
Di,
So, dili siya kasagako ng binisaya.
ingani na lang. Ingani na lang para
Kasagakon.
na direction kining programa. Si
Oh,
Pinky
kailangan,
or kinsa ba,
natay
mangutana,
dapat pagkahisgutan.
dapat tubagon. Nay
Sige,
mga
pwede.
pangutana niya dapat tubagon na dapat Bisaya. So
Pwede.
para sa pangutana ni Pinky, kung bata pa mo anana o unsay imong pinakapaboritong lugar, maraging ana ba? Kanang para mapugos ta og litok.
Sige.
Eh kung di ko gusto masipya, tinang kumutingog. Wala to mo man ang oras.
Upat na ba yaya? Hausa na likuan.
Usa na lang.
Kapit naman lima.
Usa na lang, Rod.
Sana lang,
Pero-
pakanta kita
Ina.
Bisaya ni. Di na kumutingog ka mo. Nag-score na lang ko dire.
Kaya usa na lang ka strike
Si
ya.
Alin,
Nana po iminsay. Naiminsay.
Basay si Alin, basay. Oh, okay ra.
Pinks, gusto ka Pinks?
English.
Kinsa may gusto mo basa ni?
Sige. Am I in the
Pinky.
twilight zone? This is a whole different dimension. Mao na siya kay katulon mig
Oh,
silupin
Bisaya daw na.
kahapon. Unsa
Bisaya
no?
daw,
Kamukha,
unsa man
Alin.
ang Twilight sa Bisaya.
Ambot lang unsa. Kana nun wa ko kahibaw unsa nang twilight.
Kaning mga
Sa
pangutana
Tagalog,
ni Rod
kahibaw
ba?
ko.
Kanang mga pangutana nga klaro kay galikay-likay sa ano ba? Galikay-likay sa diretso-diretso nga storya nga mabinisaya. Di na ta maghisgot anang kanang gisulat ni Alain Joseph Purio kay wa may labot sa tong ginahisgutan karong gabi. Ang atong ginahisgutan karong gabi unsa tay pangutana Pinks?
Pangutana na unsay way labot, pangutana na naminaw na. Usa man tawanan padagang
Pinky.
programa di maminaw.
Ibalik ang imong pangutana. Unsa tay imong unang pangutana? Gitubag naman to nako, di ba? So dapat
katubag
matubag
naman
si
to kung
oh.
kung katunggagmay
Sa
pa
ganito,
ba mo.
sa ganito.
Tunggagmay pa mo English ba mo nga kanang in English ba
Oh,
nga
di
Pinoy
English.
nga.
Kana si Rod, klaro
Let's
na kay
leave
ang mamagpapa
na.
abogado man.
Pack up na, let's leave na. Are you hungry? Let's eat. Kada mga ingana nga Inglesan ba?
Dili po din ana. Dili po din ana na wala pa may ingana na storya sur wala pa may dahil
Okay,
so
ingana naman ko ng mga bata
Pero
karon nga.
karon
Oh,
maging
diba,
ana.
makadungog ka.
Itungod
Nya
sa
akong
YouTube,
ikaduhang
tungod sa mga
pangutana,
salida.
akong ikaduhang pangutana, karon nga mga
Mm,
ginikana namang gid mong duha, inyo bang mga anak imong anak ay so imong mga anak Rod? Imo bang gina-English na? Get ready. We're leaving in 5 or like, have you eaten na? Sige na, let's go na.
Lahi
Ana
naman
ba?
ang
Moingon ko.
lahi naman ang henerasyon karon. So, ingon ana
Tama,
na pod.
mo pod.
Lahi naman ang henerasyon.
Pero ang nalahi
Di
sa
na po
kuha,
maligayan.
dili ambot lang si Ice kung pareho bagya po ng iyang paglitok og English sa iyang anak. Kung pareho sa ere. Kaya ako mugahi akong English pag Pinoy akong kastorya. Kaya kung puti akong
lahi pod
kastorya
ako.
or pag mulahi ko, siya kay slang
switch ra
gyapon.
siya.
Mulahi pag kabay, mulahi pag mugahi ka. Ako kay murag, Raj, get your stuff ready. Dili na ko igo ng, hey Raj, get your stuff ready. Dili ko yung anak mo storya, murag ka ng, Raj, get your stuff ready. Get in the car. Murag mugahi ko, mapansin ako, pati pag storya na ako, pag basta ka storya na ako Pinoy, kanang kabalo mo Tagalog, dili ko muslang, murag ma-conscious ko ba, murag maulaw ko, pero pag kabalo ko puti or amboy na di kabalo mo Bisaya Tagalog,
Mugawas.
mo smoothen gamay ana, pero ambot kay makakita mo kog mga mama gud mo storya sa ilang anak, grabe kas lang. Kasi kanay mo pasabot ba na kanang ingana
get your stuff ready.
Di
Di kay nakapangutan ako kay
conscious, no?
katong miagi manggod ngadto manggugog ka ng McDonald's unya. Tingala ko ba kinsa man niyang kaistorya yang anak mo siguro 11, 12. 14 siguro kinatiguangan. Sus pastilan ingko grabe ka islang man mo order lag hamburger unsa man kanang mura mag
Abi ni mo glagyaw things, abi ni mo tagalangyaw.
Audition padung
Langyaw,
pagka voice
Bisaya.
Nagpa-color magbok.
Langyaw tingali ni.
Pero walay dautan na ha kung mao nang pagpadako nimo sa
Asa
manak.
man
Kinsa ba naman ko
gikan
para
ang
magsulti ninyo
Pero
kung
dili na mo
saan pagpadako sa inyo anak.
dili na mo dugay kay
Dili.
kabalo ko dili na mo
Naji-
dugay kay kami
na-
English
na-
bitong bata
najid no
pag-abot sa
ikaw.
elementary wala tanan Bisaya.
Maupod na akong
Naginoy-
maupod na akong usa pa ka
Wala gid na siya.
pangutana unta
Di
sa
na mo
inyo.
Nagin no yung mga tao ngayon ana.
Kadungog naman mo anang kanang ambot kong hantod karon gipadayon pa ba siya sa kanang mga elementary sa public pero doon na sila subject nga mother tongue kanang itudlo ang kung kintahay na ka
Kana,
siguro
tagam mo na.
Cebu, Bisaya or kung siguro kung naa ka sa lugar nga Ilonggo ang inistoryahan, Ilonggo po itudlo po sa mga bata ba ang kanang
Diri sa Davao murag Bisaya,
dali
diba?
ilang mother
Diri sa Davao
tongue.
Bisaya. Diri sa Davao
Oh,
Bisaya ata.
Bisaya ba dire? Ambot wa pa ko kahibaw kung
Bisaya.
Kalibutan,
naa ba na siya diri nga?
wa ko'y kalibutan na kay itong bata ko, mana sa mo nang madartang na inyong ginaisgutan karon.
O kay ang uban
Bisaya
manggod, ang uban kay numdum ko katong gisugod na sa ilahang gisugod og tudlo sa ilahang eskwelahan. Daghag ni angal nga nganong tudloan naman noon mo binisaya ang bata. Dapat magtuon sila
English
Tagalog,
daw.
English.
Tagalog.
Kamo,
Kasabot
unsa
po ko
inyong
sa mga
kuwanan?
ginikanan kaya ang ilang una-una, Bisaya nagi balay pag abot sa eskwela Bisaya ra gyapon punyeta. Siyempre ana so mga reaction
Grabe,
sa mga ginikanan.
nikalit magkastila. Nikastila mo galit. Sir Vergüenza.
Sin vergüenza punyeta buiset.
Mother tongue mo rin.
Pero ang nakalingaw lang manggod sa Bisaya kay kung mamalikas manggod ka, dili manggod ka ayo bastos paminahon kay murag pakatok
Di pod.
ang gawas ba?
Lami pod paminawo ng pamalikas Bisaya kay kagumkom kay ba kanang
Pisti.
dagyod.
Animal.
Kanang animal mo gyud ano gidamay man nimo ng mga hayop. Sabagay sa Tagalog, hayop ka. Or gyapon.
Pero dili, bubalik ta atong mga ginikanan nga mo istorya sila mga anak nga murag lang yaw. Pareho ra po na sa tua nga kita nagtrabaho ta sa stasyon, tigpamaba ta sa kahanginan sa FM nga stasyon, pero kita pag palong nato sa mikropono, ang atong storya Bisaya man dayon. Ako Bisaya man gyud ako di ko Tagalog.
Paring Jun.
Paring
Jun, tinuna.
Jun Digamon. Kini si Jun Digamon. Pero sa akong kaagi magbinisaya ra gid ko pagpalong na sa microphone kay ang kanang ang kay na may ubang tawo nga katong una sa akong pagkabalo tong mga nagtrabaho sa tong stasyon nga nauna sa kuha. Tagalog ko sila, Tagalog ug in English. maski nagpatay nag mikropono in English lang gihapon. So
In
ako
English
murag
ako.
para out
Kita din ako kahinumdum ang gud adtong mga panahon na gud kayo. English ba ta pagpalong sa
Dili, pero
mic?
Ako
sa
bisaya jud ko.
kay Ice,
Mailan lang
kay
nimo,
Joe,
mailan lang nimo. Mailan.
Bisaya ako. Kay Pinky, kay Mau, kay Billy Kane, murag English ko.
Mo ba?
Makabalo lang ka
Murag dili pud tanan siguro.
Nga murag naay lain, nga murag makingkag uy lain maning style na Iceman, makabalo lang ka ana kay matingala ka nga permanente man jud ko magbinisaya. Unya og naa ka sa gawas mo kalit lang kog uy patay ng microphone wala namang suga unya in English magyapon ni kanang pinalangyaw nga English. Pag sulod nimo ala kita jud ka gwapang babae diha. Ang babae ra nga gwapang makata in English.
Mo na siya.
Kanawa unya ako pagigikuan ganina. Mas labaw pa siya English, ako Tagalog lang.
Hindi, ang akong istorya rod, kung ikaw ang muduol dito sa babae,
ako.
ang babae may niadto sa stasyon. Naram ako naglingko dito na akong profesyon istorya man.
Kasabot ko kinsay mong pasabot pod kabalo
Lisod
ko
man pod.
si Mau.
Okay,
Kaniha. Sanay mo sa loob sa stasyon na chicks. Kabalo ko mo English ito. Pati ka nang mag-inom-inom ta. Muhatag og inom.
Di ako mag-in-English mo po.
Come on.
Mag-in-English po ko pagpatay sa mikropono. Kaya ang akong rason manggod. Pagpatay mo sa mikropono, ang imong istoryahan in English. So ang lang una-una sa imo ha.
Okay.
Ay, in English ni siya. So mao na ang ilang gusto madunggan. So pag off nimo sa mikropono, patayin mo ana.
Sa call center.
Pero believe ko ani mga call center nga tao, kani mga nagtrabaho di na sila mo in English mo manginog ka in English, manigarilyo mag in English, sa kahit mag in English.
Pero bay sa tinuod lang trabaho maguna nila. Dili maguna nila. Kinahanglan maguna
nila. Naka sa jeep trabaho ra gyapon.
Imong deal. Bay, practice
ngano
gani na nila.
musakay di sila jeep English gihapon?
Oh, sakay jeep, palit sigarilyo, palit og mangga.
Grabe po.
Sample daw bay kanang
sample ha, mo alam mo na sila. Driver, can you stop? I have to get off. Mo ana day sila. Imbis na lugar lang, mo ana day sila.
Mula pa in ana gid lang taras.
Naging
maragay pod, dili na kaya. Kaysa stasyon bitaw.
Pero
patay sa mikropono di naman ko mag-English.
Pero ako dili man ako na sila kun dili pud ko kasabot pud ko kay kanang call center kadaghanan na sa ilaha murag maura pud na ilang panginabuhi.
Akong pagkahibaw man gud kana sila.
Dili sila natural na gastoryo English.
Niagi pud na sila
gyud. So murag kinahanglan nila practice.
Mao ila pong ginagamit pud ila.
Ang sulti silang
murag na sila.
Adi pud siguro nga musakay kag jeep in English.
Ang sulti silang mga amo dito sa ilang gitrabawan nga pag musakay mo jeep pag in English mo ha kay kinahanglan na ninyo.
Dili murag ilana na naon sa kay murag ehemplo lang ha nakasa
sa bagay di man pud noon ta kabuot
na klase nimo nakasa English na klase nimo or napoy mga uban na stasyon sa radyo na naay ginabutang na murag naay penalty or kanang unsa ba kanang murag unsa ba bawal na English only policy ba murag kanang English
multa ding tawagan arod multa ding tawagan multa ding tawagan
China kay murag ginabase ra nako sa akong mabasa kanang EOP ba kanang English only policy di ba namag ginaingana namag giuban na ingana na classroom na ingana siya eskwelahan sa akong anak pag nasa classroom na ingana dili
mga
kana siya wala maguta sa Amerika
nabitaw ay na mga eskwelahan nga English only policy
wala ta sa Amerika ang sunod dili pud tanang tao na nagatrabaho na English ilang storya gatanaw og salida na English probinsyano ra gyapon tanaw na unsa mo storya sila na murag si Coco Martin di ang ilahis murag para na lang na nila practice ba ikaw kaya man nimo mo switch pwede switch English na
pero tama po to ni Ice nga
pwede man ka mo Bisaya pwede ka mo English ang uban dili man ingana
18 minutos na lamang ug mahuman na kini
gamay pagantos na lang ron
mahuman na gyud ang pagantos ni Rod Rodriguez
sige kay ganahan man
kabalo ka bay dili man nilisod ba kulang lag red horse ug naay red horse akong atubangan naay sisig
ay lisod na mahubog si Rod dili mo gusto makakita unsa na siya mahubog
kano man bay butan man ko
palayo dance kanal ha palayo dance kanal
kana lang medyo palayos kanal
makurutan ka mo sa mga butang na yung mga ginastoryahan.
Di na lang nato
Mga-
na
Sabi
siya
Yung
hisgutan.
Yung saba.
Sabriya!
Sige, tanong ko nga sa awa, buang. Di na ko painom mo na to.
Ang asawa ni Rod, mas may pa kayo mong binisaya sa iya, ha?
Bisaya magiging sila sa balay. Bisaya, Ilocano man ko bay.
Mao gani,
Ay,
mo
ay,
ang
Ilocano.
istorya diri, ikaw ray dili Bisaya
Tagalog
diri.
mi.
Ikaw ray ga
Dili.
unsay tawag ana things kanang
Kay-
sa
Kaya kung mama
Binisaya
Ilocano,
paano?
akong lola mag-Ilocano, dili ko
Ga.
kasabot ko pero dili ko
Galisod.
kasabot. So
dili-
Tagalog ko,
unsay-
Tagalog ko nila.
si tawag ana magpakaron ingnon nga Bisaya pero tinuod na di na siya Bisaya.
Pero kahibaw siya.
Bisaya.
Kahibaw siya magbisaya.
Kabalo kay
Ikaw ko
taga Davao man pud pero dili na siya Bisaya jud.
Pero ang Bisaya, sige pangutanan ako, ang Bisaya, unsa na siya pagkatao, paggamit sa Bisaya na storya o kung asa kagikan. Kay ikaw, Davao naman jud ka. Wa man jud ka ni
Pangutan na imong asawa. Kabalo jud ko ba kanimo asawa sa sugod nga nanguyab pa kaniya?
Ilongga man ako asawa bay, dili man na Bisaya.
Dili
Sabagay,
pero
ang Ilongga Bisaya gyapon no?
pero
Ang Ilongga
lahi po ng Ilongga
Nasa
pero
Visayas
pero
ang
matanaw
Iloilo.
na sila.
Visayas.
Lahi po
Ah,
ng
sila
Ilongga
mag-Bisaya po.
Ilonggo. Pero
okay, misis ako Ilongga man na, dili man na Bisaya. Pero Bisaya sila magstorya. Di mo siya nag-Ilonggo sa
dili Ilonggo kay Bisaya man magsura di Bisaya. Pero sultihan
Dili.
dia katong nangulitaw pa lang kasi
Pero
mong
ang
misis.
kaliwat ay style,
Kato-
Ilonggo, Iloilo.
Katong nangulitaw pa lang kasi mong misis. Pautan na siya og dili tinuod. Kabalo ko nangilngigan gito siya sa sugod ba kanang magtagawog ka mo English siya klaro kay gigilngigan to ba. Ngilngig ng tawanan ni. Pero pasensya na to siya sa
Ang
imo.
ngilngig bay. Ang
Kay
ngilngig.
kabalo mo ko sa tirada ni, ang tirada ni Rod
Gikilig na,
pinatagalog
bay.
na English ba. Nya katuyang asa, katuyang misis, nakaila to nako. Binisaya ra magid magstorya ato.
Pero,
Sa stasyon.
Ice.
Istorya na binisaya.
Imo
Imo
ba-
sulod ni
imo ba-
tahan.
Antod karon. Pero karon sa balay ingani ang sitwasyon
Pag
namin
sulod ni
ingani.
Rodri.
Sa balay dili
Rodriguez, sulod.
Dili mi Bisaya.
Unsa na mo?
Ang pag diri sa balay, di may Bisaya. Tagalog mi magstorya ni Mrs. Pag maadto mi sa mother-in-law nako.
Yeah, mapugsa naman siya.
Ang mga brother-in-law nako.
Mapupos naman siya wag tinagalog
Kaya
kay
na.
naamang ka kay di
Pero
lang
pag
ina
napot akong-
binisaya.
Pag na akong mama magbakasyon diri o mubisita sa akong mother-in-law, sa akong in-laws, pag Bisaya akong mama kay bugada kuan maguna siya, hardcore Bisaya akong mama. How yan ang Bisaya? Siguro sa mga kliyente niya, sa iyang work, sa iyang trabaho. Pero akong auntie dili kabalo.
Tora, unom na.
Akong lola dili kabalo.
Unom na.
Unom na.
5, unom.
Sa mong gingon?
Oh, pakaron ingno na po do baka
Sa mong
Ah?
gingon?
still ang tawanan ni.
WORK.
Taman. Nabi ko gingon ko warak. Ang iyang pagkawarak.
Tora.
Kasi
Pero-
nagatanaw to
Unom
karon
na,
ba?
unom.
Unom na, oy. Wana.
Oh, Ilonggo,
Ulit na
si Gabriel. Ilonggo, people of Iloilo, Hiligaynon, the dialect language. Basa to message.
Gab,
dialect
Gab,
language.
dili
So,
ba
Ilonggo
Cagayan ng
ang
Hiligaynon?
istorya?
Ilagay nun kagaya na, di ba? Mga
Chabacano ng
Cagayan, ilagay nun.
Chabacano.
Sambuanga ang Chabacano.
Sambuanga na
Ang
no.
pagkabalo na ko
Sambuanga.
ng mga taga Cagayan,
Tama.
hilagay nun. Di lang ko sure ang Ilonggo.
Hambot.
Ang ako
Ilonggo.
na ibawaan nga hiligay nun kay kanang sa Negros sa Islas Panay. Muna silang hiligay nun. Di ba? Sakto ba or sayo?
Tinood na.
Sakto ba o sayo? Pero
Tinood
Ice,
na. Kaya nung
nag-hiskot
napo
ka
ko'y
ganina
pagka-Ilonggo
og
na ba?
ngilngig. Di ba diri ang ngilngig kay kanang bidli, luod, ngilngig.
Bidli.
Unsa ang ngilngig sa Cebu?
Gab, sa ngilngig sa Cebu.
Oo,
Ang
tala,
ngilngig,
kinsay Cebuano
payat,
niya, pangutanawon sa ngilngig sa
Ngilngig?
Cebu.
Ngilngig
Lingaw,
tugnaw?
lingaw.
Lingaw, eh.
Lingaw, di ba? Lingaw, di ba? Lingaw.
Di, sadya ng lingaw.
Lingaw.
Sadya, oy.
Astadya.
Sadya kayo.
Murag kuan.
Ngilngig.
Kung naay taga Cebu diha,
Kana, nagka-paste na po ko ano, wiki.
Lagi na.
Maynon also.
Okay, sige, basa, Pinks.
Ay, ikaw, Pinks.
ang wiki. Hiligaynon, also often referred to as Ilonggo, is the Austronesian regional language spoken in the Philippines by about 9.1 million people, predominantly in Western Visayas, told Japanay, and Soxarjan, most of whom belong to the Hiligaynon people.
Ano?
There you go.
YouTube
Salamat.
voice over talent na. YouTube
ngilngig.
talent.
Ngilngig ka ng kuyaw kaayo.
Nagi
kuyaw,
nakatubag si
ngilngiga.
Jong. Sakto na, awesome.
Ngilngig.
Ngiga.
Good.
Ngiga ni mo. Ngiga, good ni mo.
To ko na, tinod na. Kaya kato ko mga kauban nga mga taga Cebu, nga nag-training pa ko dito sa, sa Manila, tong
Ngiga.
pagka-midrep. Muna ilang mga inistoryahan.
Di kay,
Sadya, ngilngiga.
nakahibaw ko,
Ngilngiga,
kay, natoy kasa na ngaon mo niya, na okra ba? Sa unsa, hindi mo kaog okra, pakanan ako bisagod sa ilang okra. Ni, kangilngig.
Ano ka ngilngig?
Nga nang ngilngig. Unsay ngilngig? Lahi man ang ngilngig. Napa ko'y isa ka pangutana sa inyo ha. Unsay Bisaya sa dili nako gamito ng sakto nga unsa ha kay mabala ninyong answer. Unsay Bisaya sa DARK?
Ha?
Kanang dili hayag unsa na siya? Unsay Bisaya?
Lagom?
Ha?
Lagom.
Dili sayop na, di na lagom.
Ngit-ngit.
Itom.
Sakto,
Itom.
ngit-ngit.
Ngit-ngit.
Eyes kay akong ni-eskwela ko dito, anak ko. Unsa man ay guba nga suga mo arang kadulom man. Unsay dulom? Dulom
Ngit-ngit.
ba kanang dulom? Dili man
Ako di ko
Bisaya
gagamit.
ng dulom.
Di ko gagamit og dulom nga word. Ngit-ngit ra ko.
Ngit-ngit.
Oh,
Ngit-ngit
nagamit po
di
siya.
ay.
WORD. Oh, patas dami. Ningon
Oh,
sa
pila na.
WORD. Oh.
Tulo na imo Ice?
Tulo.
Tulo na?
Iya, unom.
Tulo.
Dili
Tulo.
man tumalikayan.
Ikaw, dua pa lang. Ikaw,
Dua
pa lang.
Duha ba? Ingna kog sayop.
Ngano unsa
Pero-
din ang dulom? Unsa nang dulom? Dili
Ambot,
sa
unsa ba na siya
Ngit-ngit.
Ilonggo ba na siya? Di sa balay man go, diri man go sa mo, di gud kamo. Di mi gagamit. Bisaya mi pero ang among gamit sa DARK is nga istorya dulom.
dulom.
Dili ngit-ngit. Pero ambot
Ngit-ngit
dili
pas
din na siya.
alkitran. Unsay alkitran?
Dili.
Ngit-ngit pa sa
Um,
alkitran. 10 minutos na lang.
Alkitran.
Unsa gani na
Sa alkitran
alkitran?
things. Katong presuhan gani na wala pa yung nakasibat pero nari isa nakasibat
Alcatraz turon.
sa Santan Alcatraz day mo nang yapon. Alkitran ko ana.
Alkitran.
Sama na ngit-ngit.
Unsa bay unsa ana ha? R?
Unsa may alkitran?
Tar?
Dili. Spalto.
Di siya tar.
Murag
asfalto, eh.
sa spalto. Spalto.
Mm.
Murag dili siya
Kung ngit-ngit,
spalto.
Dili day siya kanang murag panahon kanang sa
Alto.
ang ngit-ngit kanang color murag kulay ana mo nang ngit-ngit.
Dili, ngit-ngit.
Murag pwede ka moingon na si Michael
kumayong
Jordan ngit-ngit. Kung nga asfalto man, ngit-ngit pa sa alkitran, di ngit-ngit ang asfalto, di ba?
Kung imong gamiton nga ngit-ngit pas alkitran, pwede nimo na siya
Oh, di?
gamiton. Nga
Saman.
Kung
Ngit
sabay,
nga nung nangit-ngit man
Bisaya na.
alkitran. Oh. Mura man siya nagpasabot na ang alkitran ngit-ngit. Pod. Oh.
So ako ang unsa ngit-ngit.
Ngit-ngit. Oh, ana gani, ngit-ngit pas sa mouse ni Pinky. Oh, murag ana. Pwede. So, dili sa ngit-ngit.
Ngit-ngit.
Kung-
Ngit-ngit kung dili hayag.
Mao gani, unsay pasabot so ang baso ngit-ngit.
Ngano ngit-ngit? Ito may mong baso.
Mao gani kay yung gikumparahan man alkitran. So, pasabot ang alkitran ngit-ngit pod. Pasabot ka. Wa man siya niingog ngit-ngit pas kuweba. Ana, ingon sa nga na ngit-ngit pas
Di
bodega.
kay kana man gud
ana.
ngit-ngit pas alkitran, saying man gud na siya. Kanang
Murag.
di ba Ice?
dili ma-
Unsa naman si Iceman? Unsa may ginabasa ni?
Kasabot ko. English na to sa imong pasabot lang. Sa pasabot ni Pinky, kasabot ko. Murag niingon ka na murag darker than my mug. Ana. So dark, pwede po siya panahon, pwede po siya.
Mao na siya.
Kasabot na ko. Dili mo siya may blacker than, di ba? Darker. Tama. Kasabot
Okay.
ko, kasabot.
Sa
Correct,
excuse
correct.
ha.
Kaya nang ngit
usual.
alkitran nga storya.
Di man ka moingon na
Ginagamit na siya.
your mouse looks dark. Di man ka moingon na. Di ka moingon nga imuhang mouse ngit-ngit. Di sayop na. Di man ka mo. Dark mo na siya sa binisaya.
Lisod lagi istorya hindi Bisaya Pings. Kaya siya kasabot.
Murag
Kanang
ngit-ngit
Lisod
ka, Terad.
kitran nga storya, dili man na siya pwede gamiton sa mga kana para sana magstorya kag mga kaugmaon, awa ni kaugmaon ning bataan ning ngit pa sa alkitran ng kaugmaon. Mo na ang diha mo
Mura
na
siya
gamiton. Oh.
idiom, I
Murag
feel like.
ana.
Oh.
Ingana na lang.
Og
Murag sa English pa.
matod pa ni Patrick
O,
Angelo, murag sa English pa context. So di po nimo siya pwede gamiton
Sabot.
basta-basta lang.
Makatawa man ko ninyo
Paulo.
pasalamat na lang ko kay makasabot kog Bisaya.
Ay, taga-asa man din ni si Evita.
Elise.
Taga Luzon ba ni si Evita?
Ice, murag. Ice, gamita daw ng context, English na ko, in a sentence.
Unsa man?
Context in a sentence, gamita daw. Adugayoy. Sa una, sa ang TV, na ay aktor dito na bata, si Paulo Context. Si Paulo Context no bata dito sa ang TV.
Puro kabuang ra ginahibalan na nitong kauban
Hindi,
mo.
Bay, Bisaya man bay. Bisaya man.
Gamay na lang
Apil
yun.
man na.
Gamay
Ay,
pag-antos
apil man
na
na,
lang.
bay.
Gamay pag-antos na lang.
Unong ka minutos na lang.
Apil man na. Ang Bisaya bay,
7
katawanan.
minutos.
Duwara ng Bisaya, suko o katawanan. Duwara na. Ikaw ang suko, ako ang katawanan.
Pero bitaw, asa mo nakatuon og English? Kana na lang atong sunod hisgutan. Asa mo ngano mo kahibaw mag-English? Kay
sa eskwelahan.
di ikaw kay siyempre ning puyo man ka sa abroad nya gamay pa pug
Wala
ka
po kung English na pa ko diri oy grabe ka.
Oh, di man ka nang-
Adunahan man ang
Amerikano.
kanang pamilya ni Rod, adunahan man na.
Bisan kinsa sa
Pwede ba?
Pilipinas, mao na ako'y na kaistorya nga foreigner, ganahan daw siya diri, classmate nako sa akong eskwelahan. Ganahan daw siya magbalik-balik diri kay bisag mangutaad to siya kanto, tan sa
Kasabot,
taxi driver,
kasabot.
magkasinabot daw sila kay ang
Sinabot
Pilipinas o ang Pilipino, ang mga Pilipino kahibaw man gud bisag gamay nga English kahibaw magid kasabot ta kahibaw ta. Kung moadto kag laing nasod sa masa, moadto kag Cambodia, Vietnam, kadto kog Vietnam, stang lisoda mangitag taxi didto kay ang ilahang kanang menu mo order ka picture, di ba? O so kana pa lang nanatay alas anak kay about mag-English. Pero
yan, nakabutang dito sa menu ba? Pagtanong nimo sa picture, nakabutang dito sa menu parat ni kaayo. No, kasabot.
arang kahalang.
Maglami.
Pero ang akong pangutana, asa mo
Walang
nakatuon og in-English nga kanang in English nga tong gamit ba kanang sa atong show,
pareha
sa
sa ani?
atong trabaho sa una o asa mo nakata kay ako sa
Sa-
tinuod lang hilig gyud kog basa, gamay pa ko hilig na kog basa.
Ako
Unya
pod.
bag-o ko
Hindi sa basa.
bag-o ko
Nakatabang ng
nakatuon og
basa.
in-English sa eskwelahan, hilig gyud ko mo tanog TV show, British o kanang American.
Friends.
So
Friends, di ba?
nakatabang gito.
Mm.
Oh, muli-li jud ka na niya. Di ko kasabot sa ilang ginaistorya, tanaw na ko sa dictionary niya. Akong sundugon ba. Mo na nakahibaw ko mag-English pero wa jud ko nakatunan na sa eskwelahan. Kamo asa
Pero
mo
pangutan
nakatuon?
ang pangutanan ni Patrick Pings, wa ka na scam dito sa Vietnam. Kay kung di ka kabalo sa ilang inistoryan dito, mas scam daw ka. Wa ka na scam dito.
Scam ka?
Wa ko na scam dito kay kahibaw na ko nga mas scam ka. Mao na pag magstorya na sila, magsugod na sila, awa na palayo na ko daan. Di na ko mo. Gipasakay mig bus, gusto nila mo sakay mig bus kay motor daw sa unsa unya. Ako tong nakitaan sa isa ka website nga di daw lagi mo
Baligya mo
apil
alahas.
sa kanang tour kay mao daw lagi scam daw lagi ilaan
Baging
kanila
presyo.
sa layo.
Laron ka.
Oh, pagbalik nimo unya di daw nindot tong adtuan nga unsa so kahibaw na ko nga.
Sa Bangkok, ang style nila kay ang ana gyapon. Ipatuktok ka
Mm.
tapos padalon ka sa lugar, papaliton kag alahas.
Tuyok lang ka.
Na peke di ay.
Oh.
Peke di ay, ana ba?
Ah.
Or katong pingpong show. Pero katong pingpong show, dili to scam ha. Kita si Pinky ato. Kita ka to Pinks, di ba?
Wala ko niya to.
Ano ba?
Wa ko kasabot
Ano ba?
ngano ko gusto mo tanaw.
Oo.
Ngano na ko siya tanaw wa ko.
Dili kito scam tong pingpong show. Kung matungog Bangkok, pingpong show. Tinuod yun.
Pataya?
Tinuod yun.
Asa
Dili,
mo?
nasa
Ayaw
nasa
Pings,
Bangkok.
ayaw mapriso ka na.
Sa Bangkok gusto na.
Mapriso ka na. Ayaw pataya. Mapriso ka na. Ayaw patay mapriso ka na.
Pero saya po ka katawanan mga ni ka oh. Usa man ni.
Pero
Ayaw
asa
pataya
mo na tanaw ato sa Pataya o sa Bangkok?
Tanawa lang, ayaw lang pataya.
Di kay katong nag-adto pod mig Pataya ning adto mig Pataya na apod sila
Dagan
yung
dito,
ana nga show
dagan
nga.
dito,
Oo, nga
dagan
murag-
dito. Mas dagan dito. Mas Dagan dito.
Oh, di ko
Pero
kasabot ngano ka gusto mo tanaw ana. Pero sige,
Oh.
kung asa ka
dili
malipayon, ipuntahan ti ka.
makaingon kag ngilngig pinks. Ikaw
Dili
mismo babae
tungilngig,
man ka pero makaingon
dili
kag
tungilngig. Di
makaingon
kita
Sa
tos
ngilngig
previous
nga
Bisaya
Cebu?
sa mo.
O
Dili to,
ngilngig sa
dili to
sa
ngilngig
Davao?
nga Cebuano. Bidli to nga ngilngig.
Dili ngilngig.
Ngilad og
Wow,
ngilngig nga bidli.
ngilngig.
Oh.
Ngilngig, uy.
Oh.
Nganong
Kaya
na-shoot man to?
Kung
Na-show
papa
mo man?
nangilngigan man.
Ngilad
Sa muka sa
Kung papa
pingpong show. Kabaw ko ana
pagsundo sa ako sa airport sa kung papa niingon dayon dalo na niya ako sa pingpong show pagkagabi nagistorya na sa kung sa may tabo. Wag ko gatuo. Sige ko ingon bulate ka wala pataka na ka pa mo. Gidala ko. Wa ko katingog oy. Tinuod jud yan. Wa ko na
Tinuod
scam,
na
wa
rod,
ko na scam.
nakaadto na pud ko og Bangkok. Mahal kayo
Mahal
ang
kayong plite
pliti
dito.
dito. Mahal kayong pliti.
Patrick, experience gina na. Mano sa
Atay.
experience gina.
Ataya ni
Nana sila
Bangkok
ginabuhat
dayon.
nga is kanang kung trabaho nila ang taxi driver ba? Unya kibali ilaag ka sa kanang chocolate factory unya di ito
Mm.
papaliton lang kag daghan.
Or
Dito
bawion
sa
nila na
Bangkok.
sa metro.
Di kay
Murag
kada
papakyawon
naa
kanila
sila
sa taxi, di ba?
murag ang ilahang sabot ato kada naa sila mabaligya kintay chocolate or kanang alahas kintay na imada nga kanang pasahero dito ba mailad na ay kwarta ang driver mo na sila mangilad pud sila pasahero labi nagkaibaw sila nga tanaw nila makapasa pa man ta usahay nga kababayan nila pero
55 segundos.
ato
Mao
ara
man
na
ang
wa na
Salamat.
atong pag-antos.
Pag-atos.
naghuwat na ni si Rod.
Mura matag dili ka Bisaya pagpalongan ning salida. ha? Bisaya mo
Di
kita
lahim
pagstorya.
lahim binisaya sa kanang binisaya nato
Halo-halo mo
diri
gano.
kay kailangan
Pwede magkuta mo halo.
kaning
Oh,
mga
di
social
dili
nga
sa
tawag
kanang
binisaya ginagmay unya in English dinagko nya sa gulag tinagalog ana
Tagalog
man ang mga
gamay.
tirada sa ano
Ano,
lisod man pod.
Ana jud.
Ang uso kay
Wanan Davao
sa
Tagalog.
uso kaayo nga pirmi nako madungog kasi like unsay kasi like uy king
Pareho
na
ra
kung
na.
Ako mga
pakakon di ba
ako mga barkada hardcore
makaistorya kag
Bisaya yun.
social kasi like unya na pay isa ka kanang unsa nga Tagalog sobrang thank you sobrang saya nganong sobra naman ka tanan
Kini jud. Mas
kadungog
grabe
mo
ni.
ng mga artista
Kini over fatigue. Oh, kana. Over fatigue na gani, over pa yun. Grabe.
napay
Taas ba kung high blood
unsa
na?
napay mas kuyaw ana Rod my own personal opinion
Grabe.
Hunaa daw na.
May
Hunaa daw na,
personal pa yun.
My own personal opinion. Sige daw. Nanigawas na itong pagkalibakira, no? Sige, undangan na nato ni kay makasata.
All right, so maybe
Ay,
Rod
makuyaw na
would be
lang kita,
happy
kuyaw na
that we are past the first
So
hour
we're
mark.
cool.
So we're back. Yeah,
We're back to
We're
speaking
back.
in English.
It's straight
Kating na po ni Iceman.
an
Ganina pa
hour
po nangatol
of
ang dila na.
of
Kang-English yun na kayo na. Batik-atik na
vernacular.
kayo.
vernacular of speaking vernacular during the first hour of the show, right? No, I mean Rod is
naghuwat na siya
Tarawa
ba kanang gamay na
No,
lang na bilin wa na siya ni istorya
I
kadungog
have I have to look at the I'm keeping time. I'm keeping time.
Sure.
I'm doing keeping time here, right?
All right.
Because I think you're trying to show off. Because
Mauna
you know it's only like what a minute or two remaining, or like maybe a few seconds remaining.
I
And
was
Rod-
genuinely waiting for Rod to slip. I was trying so hard to keep him like talking so he would slip. But he actually kind of held on to it
I know.
really well.
That's the thing.
Murag lisod na
Rod-
English ba? Murag nila murag maglisod na kog English. Murag naanan na
Rod-
sa mukha ninyo eh.
Rod was trying to impress us. The last few seconds of the first hour, he was trying to impress us. He was trying so hard to convince everybody that he is a bisdak. He's not a bisdak. We all know that he's not a Bisayan dako. He's not like that. He's never like that.
Wala ko na nga konbis na ko. Ingon ako baka
See, a chip on his shoulder right now. We are past the first hour mark. He's still speaking Bisaya. What's wrong with this guy? What's wrong with this guy? He said an hour.
Si Brando.
Yes, he has something to
si
prove.
Brando. Kung nag-English mo ko kay Brando, pakutan eh. Bisaya ko.
Sa presinto ka na magpaliwanag, Mr. Rodriguez. See? That's what I'm saying. He's trying to prove. He's trying to prove things.
Okay.
All right, so what is it that we're going to talk about?
Brando is just like saying ha ha ha.
Hold on, what are we
Mura
gonna
na yung
talk about?
libalan.
Second hour.
We're gonna talk about the absurd Filipino culture, like the different,
Kana,
Like what?
Filipino
hindi na
culture
ako
that's so
maka-English,
toxic,
man.
so absurd that we have to deal with, like
I'm not
inside the country and
I'm not kidding.
outside of the country.
I'll go first.
All
Utang
right,
na
you go
loob.
first.
Utang na
Utang na
loob.
loob.
Okay.
That
Utang
is
na
a
loob.
thing
What's
that
up with
we
that?
latch onto, like if you buy something, someone something, or like if you give somebody a favor, you're kind of bound to that person because of that
Agree.
favor, unless you like get your chance to do a favor for that person.
See,
That's the
here's the
concept
thing.
of
Here's the thing.
utang na loob. That doesn't
I know
exist in
that.
other countries. That doesn't
That's why
exist
here,
in
no,
other
yeah,
countries.
it doesn't exist because, like, for example, in Japan, if you, for example, me, I'm coming from the Philippines, and I would, I would bring stuff from the Philippines, like candies or whatever, those small things, the pasalubongs. Then I will give it out to, my workmates and my friends here. And you know what they would do? They would
What?
automatically give you something back.
Something back, yeah. So
Yeah,
it's not
so
hanging.
The next day,
Right, that's
no, so yeah, so
favor.
the next day they'd give you a chocolate or something. They'd give you something else.
Like
Like
a
you give them
payback
something, they give
thing.
you something back. Yeah, it's a payback. Because I don't think they want to owe anybody
Because
a favor or something.
I mean, as nice as that is, that you're acknowledging that somebody helped you out, somebody gave you something, that responsibility to help the other person is just looming, until that opportunity comes.
Well,
And sometimes
That's
let me
why the
ask you
main
this.
reason I have a friend. Wait, I have a friend who's American, married to a
Mm.
Japanese, and every time people would hand out, these goodies, like every time we have a meeting or something, or because in Japan the culture is if you go somewhere, like for example, it's Obon, yeah, it's the Obon holidays. It's like the
what does that
All
mean?
Saints Day, All
Summer?
Souls
Oh,
Day.
okay.
In the Philippines, it's All Saints Day, All Souls Day. Kalag kalag, like we would go home to our
Kalag
home,
kalag. Oh, he's back to
yeah,
his
kalag
Michelle
kalag,
self.
right?
Kalag
So kalag
kalag.
kalag, yeah.
Jeez. I can't with you, Ice. I
Atik,
can't.
atik.
Nobody says kalag
Well, I
kalag.
told you, I'm in the zone all the time. Like, all right,
You
so
mean you can't flipping turn it on and off like a normal person? Do you like
well, I
mix
can.
these two
No, you
together?
can't.
So if
I
you're
don't
like,
know. For
if
some
I'm
reason,
talking to you, in Bisaya and I'd be like, let's go to Bahada, you'd be like, all right, let's go to Bahada.
Bahada.
Do you do that?
It's
That's pretty
Bahada.
fascinating, right?
Eddie Garcia.
Hang on, let me finish my story.
Anyway, go ahead.
So
Go back
you
to
go
what you were
Hindi ko
saying.
kinaya
Yeah,
yung
you,
Eddie
you, you're
Garza.
somewhere or you go on a trip.
All right, yes.
You always bring back these what we call omiyage. So it's like sort of a pasalubong omiyage. So if you went somewhere,
Little.
you come back, you give it to like it's a tradition for them. So you
Mm.
give it out to your workmates or your friends. So it's like a pasalubong. It's omiyage, right? So what was I talking about? Oh my god,
Your
I forgot.
friend who married a Japanese
Yeah, okay,
woman.
yeah. All right, so that guy. So every time we have a meeting and people start to give out these things, he would always say like, "No, I don't need it." Like, "No, I don't want it." Like he would say that because he doesn't want to be obliged. He doesn't want to be obliged to give something
To give you
back. So
something
he's like,
back.
he would refuse. Like, no, I don't want it. I don't want it. Like just a small candy or whatever, like a cookie or something. Like he would refuse it because he doesn't want to give back something. He's like, no, I don't want to be, I don't want to be obliged to give something at some point. Because if I go somewhere, I don't want to buy stuff for
Yeah.
you guys. And he would say that in
Yeah.
our faces. No, I don't want to
Yeah.
have that. I don't want to have that thing. So I'm not gonna take any of your stuff. And I would always tell him, like, dude, I'm
Yeah.
Filipino. I don't care. Just take it. I don't expect anything from you.
That's
Just
how
take
we
it,
roll.
Eat it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Everybody
how we roll.
brings
He'd be
you
"All
home
right,
like a
fine."
keychain or like some nail
Well-
clippers from.
Well, about the utang na
Somewhere.
loob, well, is that like sometimes we're the ones who are kind of guilty of that because like we overthink it, like for
Yun
example,
nga
if
eh.
somebody does me a favor, right? Somebody does me a favor, is it a requirement? Like I think it only is applicable if let's say the person actually gets upset at you for not returning the favor. Because for
Or,
example,
like,
like if
if
somebody
you're
did me
not
a
that
favor, right?
close.
It's unsolicited. Yeah, or not
Mm.
that close. Somebody, it's like unsolicited favor. Somebody gave me did an unsolicited favor for me, and then I did not return that favor. I didn't do anything to that person. Now, there's nothing wrong there, unless person like complains about
What
me
happened?
or says
What
something
happened?
ill about me.
Yeah,
right?
you kind of disappeared for a
Did
second
you
there.
get it?
You kind of disappeared.
Am I still here?
No, you're kind of like
Yeah, you're
paused
there
in this
now.
Am I
situation.
still here?
Yeah.
Yeah,
now
Alright,
you
now
are.
you're
anyways,
okay.
I don't know what happened, but yeah. So, anyways, as I was saying, it's like if you don't return the favor, unless they demand it, like the utang na loob. It's like I think we're just too conscious about it. Because I mean, I know a lot of people who've done things for me, and it's unsolicited. Like I didn't ask for it. If I don't ask for it and you give me something, then that's out of good kindness of your own heart. I don't expect you to expect me to return the favor. If I asked you to help me out, then I feel obligated to return the favor. So, if the person hates me for not returning, like if we went to Hong Kong and my wife is like, "Hey, you got to buy magnets for the people that you work with. You got to bring in pasalubong." I'm like, why? Like, I don't expect any pasalubong when they go out of town. Like, I'm fine if they don't give me any. I mean, Iceman does it all the time. He brings shirts, he brings like chocolates and stuff. And I think he's used to it because of the Japanese culture that they do that there. Or maybe he's just like that. I know back in the day, Abby went to like Enchanted Kingdom or something, and she came back and she bought like coloring books for my kid. But I never think about stuff. Those things don't really stick to my head because like I didn't ask for those things. So when I went to Hong Kong, my wifey told me about that, like get ref magnets or something. Then it came flooding back. I'm like, oh yeah, Iceman did give me stuff, or
That's the
Abby did give me
sucky part.
stuff. So
Yeah.
so now it's like, oh crap. Like now I feel like I need to get something for people. And what happens is you end up preoccupied buying pasalubong stuff. You spend so much time at souvenir shops or buying all these like rep magnets, like 100 baht for like 4 pieces or something. That you like, that's what you end up being preoccupied with. It's supposed to be your vacation. You're not even supposed to be thinking about work. You're not even supposed to be thinking about these people. It's like you owe that to yourself. That's your break. But the utang na loob, I don't want to be imprisoned with that. Like I don't want to be constantly thinking that somebody does me a favor that's unsolicited. I forever like have to repay them.
Yeah, but don't
like,
you?
I don't wanna,
but don't you ever feel like, okay, you get a favor from somebody, does you a favor, and let's say you're not that close.
If I asked
like
for it,
at the back of your mind, yeah, don't you get that nagging feeling like, oh, I have to one day give it back, or like, what if he guilts me into doing something that I don't want because
probably
I
just
did
if
he
it
did
comes
me a favor.
naturally. If it comes naturally, like for example,
Okay, but maybe
like this person did me
it
a
also
favor. Tapos
depends
something happened to
on the
that
kind
person.
of,
Depends on
Then
who,
then
I guess.
no, I mean
yeah.
it depends also on
Yeah.
the kinds of it depends also on the kind of favor that the person did for you. If it's like a really
Like how
That too.
big it
That
is.
too.
Yeah.
then that would
too.
be
That too.
hanging behind
That too. That too.
behind your head, the
But
back of your head. But if
it
it's
has
just
to
like
come
small things,
naturally. It has
right?
to come
Yeah,
naturally.
but I
Because
wouldn't.
otherwise you take away the essence of the act. Like for example, somebody I got stuck in the mud and a friend of mine out of nowhere, like, found out about it and sent his tow truck or like towed my car out of the mud or something. Then okay, thank you. I appreciate that. But then, if I go out of my way just to return the favor and it's not something natural, like I just go to his house and bring him food or something just to return that, it
That
takes away
scenario.
from the gesture.
No.
It
That
takes away from the
scenario.
gesture.
Let's
It
say
becomes a business,
you got stuck in the mud, somebody helped you out, and then let's say it's your neighbor and he lost his car and you see him waiting there by the road and he doesn't have
Okay.
any vehicle to use. Would you think, oh man, he helped me out that one time, should I maybe drive him to work? And when does it stop? Like, do you drive him every day, every time you see him, like in that
Well, it has to come
scenario?
naturally. It has to come naturally. Like I shouldn't be conscious about it. Like it shouldn't be like, hey, I have to cook this dish for this person. I have to bake
No,
him a pie
but
and give it to
in
him.
that
It should
I
come
think
particular,
it has
naturally.
something to do with how we also react to these things. For example, the
what do
utang
you
na loob,
mean?
right? For example, here in Japan, it's not a thing that you give somebody a lift because you live in the same neighborhood. It's not a thing. Like even if you stop at somebody and like, hey, you need a lift, they'd be like, no, I'm fine. I'll
It'll
walk
be
to the
weird.
bus stop. I'll walk to the train station.
Because you have nice,
You see
efficient
somebody,
buses there. Yeah.
yeah, but
And a nice
even so,
public
if it's not
transport
efficient, I don't
system.
like. Yeah, maybe that's one of the reasons too. But the thing is, they just don't do that. Like it's I
Yeah, but
like
that's in the context of the Japanese people. I'm talking about you
I
guys.
know,
Yeah,
I
mga
know, but
Filipino.
but
Pinoy.
if we because that's how we react. If we start reacting this way, like somebody gives you a lift or whatever, and you'd be like, no, I'm fine. I don't need. No, I'll take it. No, it's fine. I'll walk. So the next time you'd be like, oh, he would never even take
Yeah.
my offer. So
Consider,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna. He would not even consider it. So I'm not gonna offer
Offer
anymore. So the next
anymore. Yeah,
time
yeah.
I'm walking
He'll
and
pass
you're
you
driving
by.
by,
Yeah.
yeah, you'd be like, well,
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna get in the car. So I think it's just So
No
how do you say
responsibility.
that?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
like
No
he's okay.
expectation.
I'm
Yeah.
okay. Yeah, there's nothing. It's just like
Uh,
we're just
That's
what do
why
you call that?
people who live abroad, when they come back to the Philippines, they're the coldest people in the world. People think we're like mean and nagbago na, nakatira lang sa Amerika, ganyan. No, because that's just how it works there,
Indifferent.
you
That's
know?
the
And
word,
when you come
indifferent.
back,
We're just indifferent to things.
yeah. Yeah,
I think
because
so,
I'm like
yeah.
Ice. He's lived in Japan, right? And there are things like that. But the thing with Ice is, he grew up here in the Philippines. He left for Japan. He's like 20 plus.
Grown
how
up,
old he
yeah.
was already. So it wasn't ingrained in him. He's like Pinoy. Like he still has the values. He still has. I left the Philippines. I was freaking 10 years old, 11 years old. How old I was, right? So I had all these years where people didn't pay for my fare if I didn't have change. People didn't give me a shirt if my shirt got wet or something. It's like nobody borrowed anything from anybody. It's like people just bought their own stuff. So when I came back to the Philippines, I was the meanest guy in the world. Like Jepoy can attest to that. Like Jepoy, we'd ride the Jeep and he said he'll tell me he doesn't have change. And it's only like one. I remember the fare then was like 150 or 2 pesos. And he'd be like, you pay for me muna. And I'm like, no, I'm not paying for you. You rode the Jeep. So I was like, he looked at me as if like, damn, this guy's the worst guy in the world. Like he probably knew I had money, but I didn't pay for him. I'm like, dude, you got on the Jeep. I didn't force you to get but that it's like, does that make me a bad person? I mean, because in the US, I wouldn't be a bad person, but then I'm in the Philippines. Is it a requirement? That's my question. It's like it's same thing with the Bisaya thing. It's like if you don't speak Bisaya, does it mean you're social? If you don't speak what? These are things that people just made up. Like there's no actual rule for it. Like utang na loob. Am I a bad person if I don't return the favor that was unsolicited in the first place? Somebody did it to me. Somebody gave me something. Now I'm stuck with this because it takes away from the essence of the act. Because it's like love. It's like, I'll only love you if you love me. It's not love, right? It's a business transaction. It's basically an exchange of goods. Basically, that's what it is. So
So
you
you're
don't want to take
saying
away
that
from the
you
essence of the
love
act.
someone even if they don't love you back? You're okay with
Dude,
that?
if you love someone, that's a feeling that you should have, regardless of what they feel about you or not. Now, if they reciprocate that act,
That's
then
a
you have a
totally different
relationship.
topic, but
Because you
just
can,
curious.
dude,
I was
because you
just
can love a
asking.
person even if you don't have a relationship. You can honestly like love and care for a person and not have a relationship. But if
All
you want a
right. Yeah.
relationship, doesn't mean you have a relationship. It doesn't mean there's love, right? So what I'm saying
Okay.
is, when it comes to utang na loob, like for example, ako, if I did Pinky a favor, right, out of the goodness of my own heart, I felt bad for Pinky. Her drawing pencils were all broken and shit, whatever. And she's an artist. I'm an artist. I feel for her. I bought her a set of pencils, right? Out of the goodness of my own heart, I had extra money. I gave it to her. And now she's stuck with that feeling that, oh, crap, I have to buy Rod stuff if something breaks or like if he needs this. I don't want that because it takes away from the essence of my gesture to give that to her because that made me feel good. Now, the thing with Pinoys is we think it's generosity, but it's not. It's like we want something out of it. So, what are we really? It's like,
But I
diba?
don't think all Filipinos think this way.
another
You think all
another
Filipinos think this way?
No, I
I
mean,
wouldn't say all
that's
Filipinos,
why
but
we have.
yeah.
That's
I
why
don't
it's a
think that way.
norm. Yeah, but that's why it's a norm. That's why we have utang na loob because apparently that's the case, right? I didn't make it up. I
Also,
wasn't the one
when
who
does
made up
it
utang na
end?
loob.
Like, when does it end? It's a
Exactly.
vicious cycle. I do
It
you a
shouldn't even
favor, you do
start.
me a favor back, and I'd be like, oh man, did me a favor, I have to help him out someday. And then when I do, you pay
It,
it back. When does it end? That's my question. As
yeah,
someone who's not really very social, that's my question.
it
Like,
ends. I guess it ends. I guess when the person gives you something, you give them something back. That's it, right?
immediately, like
I mean,
up
based on
outright.
the Pinoy norms, right?
Yeah.
I think. I mean,
But
it should
but
start to begin with. That's all I'm saying.
it's this you're right, Rod, this thing that we have is actually the guilt that you feel is self-imposed. It's not like, I mean,
It
I would
is.
like to think that the person who helped you out did it out of his good, like,
Oh
kindness,
yeah, quits na
generosity,
taha,
goodwill.
like what Jong said. Yeah, if now,
Right, that's
yeah,
true,
quits na taha.
that's right,
Yeah,
yeah. But see,
that's a
you have
term
to
you can
say it
use. You can say
outright.
quits na.
You have to say it outright. There's no like presumption that it's over unless
Right.
you say,
It's not
oh,
that
Yeah,
we're
tara,
but
even.
quits na ta, bayad na ko.
but it's but it's kind
Right?
of mean though because what if that person did not intend for you to repay him or her, and then you said
Yeah,
that to
but
them?
that's
It's
Exactly.
like, oh
but
man, that's
Rod,
mean. That's cool. That's
the fact that thing exists, the quits nata idea, means that people experience this
yeah.
a
Well, it's
lot,
there
enough
too.
for it to
You have to
exist. You know what
declare
I
it.
mean?
That's what Patrick said. You have
Yeah,
to declare it.
that's true.
It's
That's
like the
true. That's
favors.
smart.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's rap. Okay, it also brings me to this term that's called mamoy boy. That's another
Yeah,
Pinoy
mangihap. Yeah.
culture.
Right.
Mamoy boy. I can't even think of like an English equivalent term for that. But apparently, it's like, when like well,
Like
I don't
if
want to
I
use
get you a
parents as an
shirt,
example.
yeah, if I get you a
Yeah.
shirt and then we
Or
fight one day and I'd
or
be like, palitan ba ita kag t-shirt ha? Balik kag
yes.
t-shirts ako. That's it. That's
Or
Pamoy Boy.
like your parents sending you to school and then you're like,
Yeah.
you don't pay them, you
Pinag-aral
don't give them
ka.
money from your first
Right.
salary. It's like pinaskwela kita, hindi ka man lang nagbigay ng pera nung nagsweldo ka. That's like
Mm.
mamuy boy, right? Or I
Mm.
adopted you, or I let you
I
stay in my
didn't hear
house,
that from
mamuy
my
boy. Like,
parents.
see that I think I heard that from mine. I think pamuy boy is like it's related to utang na loob. But that's the one where they're
But that's
kind of
not
like
self-imposed. That's when the person
yeah,
insists
they're
on getting
declaring
paid
it.
back.
Yes,
Yeah.
they're announcing it that hey. So that means my parents sent me to school because they expected me to give them my salary when I start to get a job. Like they didn't do it because they love me or wanted me to be educated. I mean, like I said, it takes away from the essence of the act. It's like like some of your friends. I'm so sure some of us have friends who are like always there sa inuman pero hindi nag-aamot. And
Pulutan
always
lang ang
malakas kumain
hapon.
ng pulutan. Oh, pulutan lang. Like kanin na
Okay,
lang
to
ang
be
kulang,
clear,
right? So
to be clear, and just to tell people, I do not drink. So most of the time, I don't really give
he doesn't.
anything to, like I
Iceman
said, do
doesn't.
not
He
drink.
doesn't.
I
Yeah.
never drink.
Yeah, he doesn't. He always orders a can of Coke. That's what he orders. I remember, or
Right.
ginger ale if it's available.
And
If it's
that costs
available.
what, like
I
30?
always
40
get the
pesos?
virgin ones, Ice. Like whenever there's like a party, I'd get the virgin ones,
Right.
like just juice
Virgin
essentially.
ones?
The
Oh, that's
virgin
what it's called?
drinks.
If it's
Yeah,
not
the
okay, if it's not mixed like a
alcoholless.
cocktail.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what it's
It's
called.
just juice.
That's what it's called. But like for
Isn't
example,
that
like
what
that,
it's
like if
called?
you're a gathering,
Yeah.
if you're a group of friends, like I noticed that always with a group of friends, right?
See,
If
yeah,
you're-
it is scary to think that
when you're
even small
together,
favors count. Uniquely Pinoy good ang mag-ihap. I'm sorry, go on. I was just reading the
yeah,
comments.
manghihap. Like when you're
Mm.
no, but John brings up a lot of good points. I will read Patrick's in a while too, but it's like when you're together as a group, right? And then maybe all of y'all are in the same spot. Like, I mean, I'm sure even Iceman probably was on the receiving end of this, or I was on the receiving end, or you were on the receiving end. Anybody who finds any form of success in their life that kind of leaves the group behind, you're the one that ends up being talked about. Especially when you have a change of lifestyle or change of environment, or you don't get in touch with them as often anymore. All of a sudden, others ka na. All of a sudden, iba ka na, nagbago ka na. That's another Filipino thing where it's like, are you happy with that person's success or are you star graping? I mean, I get it if that person totally ignores you and is like starts to become a mean friend. But if that person just becomes busy, like what Iceman and I would talk about, like a girlfriend. Like when Iceman or myself or whoever, if we have a friend who gets in a relationship and can't show up anymore because they're busy with the girlfriend, we're happy for them, right? But there are Pinoy friends who apparently like, you know, they'll
Take that
they'll
against
talk
you.
trash.
Yeah, take
They'll
offense.
take that against you. You know, like, nagbago na. Sa una,
Nagkauyab
pinanglan
lang.
kita pag wala. Exactly. I mean, I mean, you know, I mean, it's just, it's kind of sad. And you think that you're friends, right? And you're saying this about a person that you call friend or a person who calls you a friend. And then you
true.
think that way about them. It takes away from the essence of the
Here's the
word
thing.
itself.
Here's the thing.
Like Patrick says,
With
go.
with friends that are really really close to me, and you know these things happen. Yeah, change of lifestyle.
Yeah.
I wouldn't think that you know they've abandoned me or something. You know what I'm saying? Because you know these people like we talked about it earlier. In one of
we
the
did.
episodes that we had, like
We did,
there are
we did.
people. No matter what happens, they'd still the same.
Yes.
You know they'd stay the same, right?
Yeah.
And with the friends that I have, they've had successes and whatnot, and for the most part, they have a busy schedule and whatever. And
They
back
have
then, we would
lives.
get together
Yeah.
like for the whole
They have
day.
lives. Yeah.
Responsibilities.
You know, like they would have
Yeah.
time for me every time. You know, like we have time for each other. But then, recently when I went back home, like 3-4 years ago, everybody had like this sort of success story, and they have more now
Yeah.
than they used to.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
I think they're still the same people. They just don't have that much time anymore because they have responsibilities and whatnot. They have kids, they have families, they have work as well. They're running a business and whatnot. So I think they stay the same. I don't think they really change, you know, because if they have the time and we get together, they're the same people they used to know. It's just that they can just spend less
Pero
time
yun
with me because
they
of
grew
their
up.
situation.
They have their
Right.
own lives. They have their own
Yeah.
responsibilities. You
So
can't really
for
expect the person to
exactly,
stay the same for
exactly.
you.
So for people who would think that there's na siya, you know, he changed or now he's abandoning me or what. I mean, there's something wrong with that person more than
The person
Yeah.
who
with the
abandoned.
person
Yeah.
who
but
they're
what
accusing of like
what I'm referring
abandonment or
to,
whatever.
what I'm referring to, Ice, is not you, because I know you're always consistent. Like you're the same guy. Like I don't talk to Ice before we started the show again. We weren't like communicating every single minute.
True.
We wouldn't talk for like a year. We would message. I wouldn't even
But
know if
like,
he's on Facebook.
it's the
And
same.
then we talked
It's
and
the
we
same
planned it and we
thing.
did the show, just like right. No, but
Yeah, like okay, with
what
you,
I'm saying
for
is,
example,
you
you moved
left.
to
Like
I left. But it's the same. Like I think
you left,
I think
so
even within
you're
the
the one
Philippines, what
that
I'm saying is
people might talk about, not you coming back to them and
I know,
them being different.
Yeah, all I'm saying is like even in the context of like people who just stayed in the Philippines and things changed for them.
Yeah,
I mean, they would
yeah,
always see
yeah,
people doing that, and you're right. They would like talk about you. Like for example, you move
yeah,
in like a better subdivision, a better village, and
yeah. So they
it's
don't see me
classy.
anymore,
It's
right?
yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
kind of
Oh my
posh.
God, I ruined the
So
plan.
people might start talking about you, and I think your good friends, like your real friends, they would never think that you've changed. I don't think they would think that. Like I never
Yeah,
thought
yeah, I
that. And
agree.
so like
I really
even like
wish
for
that.
example,
Of
Flip
course.
Mode or Master Yoda, they have different lives now, and I never really think that there's sa kayo, hilas na kayo, bike no, mahal kay bike. Like I would never think that because I think they're the same
It's
people.
a
Like
good friendship,
they're the same.
man.
Like, but I know
That's
who
how
you're
friendship
talking
should
about
be.
because there are people who think that way. So I think that's what I'm saying. Like these people who think that way, they're the problem, not 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 you,
Not
not
me.
me, not Yoda, not Flip Mode, because
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
are open minded. We know that
Because you
like
feel
there
it,
are many
dude.
things
You feel it. You know how you feel
that
it,
we have to
because
consider.
you
Yeah,
you don't drink, right? I drink, and I know like when
right.
my friends have gatherings and stuff, they always come to my house because they want to drink at my house, or they always want to invite me or whatever. And then sometimes you'll see them like having a gathering, and you're like, you didn't hear about it, or you never even sent an invitation, or
You
you
were
kind of
left
feel
out.
like
Right.
Yeah.
yes, and I don't
Well,
mind,
did you
maybe
change
because
your
they're
number? Did you
thinking
change your number?
no, no,
Maybe you
no,
changed your
no. I mean,
number. They couldn't get hold
no,
of
no,
you.
no, no, no. Maybe of course it's partly my fault because maybe I've declined their invitations one too many times. But it's like maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe they're just saying, oh, let's not bother him because he has a family. Let's not bother him because he's busy
Baka
with the kids, or
busy.
they don't have a
Oo.
yaya or whatever. I appreciate that. I appreciate that if that's the case. But sometimes you hear about how people would talk about you know, like what I said, like, oh, you live in a different environment now, or you post pictures with you're hanging out with different people now. Like nothing about me has changed. It's just the only thing that has changed about me is I've become a parent. I have two kids that they've become my priority. It always changes, like because you're if you have friends and you have a barcada, you are at a state of being where you didn't have any priorities. So the barcada was your priority. They were your life, literally, like, or your girlfriend. That's it. But once you have a wife, once you have two kids, your presence is very important for them. And if I'm thinking about drinking and coming home drunk to my infant child, smelling like Red Horse lying down next to my baby, and waking
You're
up with a
doing something
hangover
wrong. Yeah.
and not doing anything chores in the house because I have a raging hangover, then that's not fair to my family, because I
Mm.
had my fun time with my friends. But it doesn't mean that I've changed. It just means my priorities have changed. But it's hard to explain it to some people. And I think it's a Filipino culture thing where we find reasons. We always look at kind of the negative before we find out what's going on. Like that's the chismis mentality. People make up their own
Yeah.
conclusions about stuff, and it's kind of
And
sad.
we love to
Like
nitpick. Like hinahanapan ng mali. Nitpicking.
hinapan ng
Like you
bikil.
get
Bikil, di ba?
you
Bikil? Ngitag
yeah.
bikil?
Yeah, but well, to some extent, like you go to a party, you get invited to a party, you have dinner there, and they serve like I don't know bihon, and for some reason people get obsessed with how hard the
Yeah,
bihon was or
biyon.
how
Salamat
how
ka,
tough the
pinakain ka, di
adobo
ba?
was. Kaya nga, pinakain ka na nga, magrereklamo ka pa na kulang ang
Salamat ka,
sabaw ng macaroni
pinakain ka.
salad, kulang ang
Di
sauce
ba? I
ng
mean,
macaroni salad, di ba?
that's so bad.
It's
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 like,
it's. I'm not saying it's exclusively
yeah.
Filipino, but I've been to one too many parties. Usually
I
school
know it's
Christmas parties.
usually even
Yeah,
weddings,
yeah, wedding. Like the
Ang laki daw ng
bride just
ginasto, ang pangit naman ng host.
ang pangit ng
Si
venue. Ano ba yung
Rodriguez.
bulaklak nila plastic? O, 'di ba? Hello, ikaw na nga pinakain, mahiya ka naman. Pero
That's why
yeah,
my
that's
family hates parties. My dad never liked
Yeah, I hate
parties.
parties. I
yeah,
don't
me
like
Right.
too.
parties.
So every time I have
I
people
hate it.
over, they're just my closest friends. Like remember when I would come back and just
I
hosted dinner.
attended. I think
That's
it was your dad's birthday party, and it was kind of
Tapok-tapok.
like an intimate dinner, right?
We
were
were
like
at a
at a
steakhouse.
restaurant.
We were at that
probably.
steak.
Yeah, a steakhouse somewhere in
We were at
Matina or
steakhouse in
something.
Huna.
In
Steak
Huna,
Unlimited.
right?
We were
I think that was my birthday.
yeah.
Was that your birthday
that
or
was-
your dad's birthday? That was his birthday.
That was
No,
my
because
birthday,
I-
Pinks. What are you
You-
talking
no,
about?
I
No,
just
hold.
remember
No, Ice,
eating,
Ice.
so there's-
I understand why Pinky said that because you know what sticks to my mind during that night?
Yeah,
Talking
Ice
to
Pop was there
Pop
the whole
or
time.
why-
Yeah,
He was
Yeah, your
outside.
dad
He was
was
at the
there.
door.
he was
Yeah,
outside. He was
Mom.
by the entrance.
Yeah.
Yes.
He was by the
Yes,
entrance,
he was
waiting
by
for people to come.
the
That
entrance.
wasn't
Yeah, I
crazy,
remember
Rod.
that.
So
Thank you for
so we're
clearing
all
that up.
thinking of. So we're all thinking about him. Yes, that's why I
He was
also
acting like it was his
I was also
birthday.
thinking-
Yeah,
That
of
was
course.
your birthday.
Yeah, he was-
I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
my
I thought
papa,
it was your
always a
dad's birthday or
diva.
something.
He's a diva. I'm telling you, like he's a diva. He wants the attention. So yeah,
I remember him
yeah,
being
would've been-
outside.
it would've
Yeah,
been-
Oh,
yeah.
yung lumpia,
That's
kulang
when
sa
it's
yung
his
lumpia,
birthday.
kulang sa feeling.
All right.
Yeah,
It's scary to
right?
think that even small
Wait,
players, yeah.
People nitpick,
yung
man.
ano,
Like the smallest
Yung Patrick said,
things.
Filipinos are shy to get the last piece of the food. I attribute that to our considerate nature. We'll let other people get that last piece. Yeah,
I
being
think it's starting to
considerate.
change now. People would always
Yeah,
like,
we
all
don't
right, I'll
just-
take the last piece.
Lalo
now,
na
yeah?
ngayon, pandemya. Whoever gets
Okay,
the
so
last slice is a happy
another-
person.
Okay, absurd, toxic Filipino culture. Now, a lot of people probably will hate me on this, and I always say this during our show with Ice and even with Pinky. It's always something that kind of annoys me. It's a pet peeve. It's like
What?
when people visit unannounced.
Oh,
I mean, I understand if you're
I'm
in the
with you
neighborhood.
on
that.
Rod, nakadya-
I'm-
Here
I'm
we
with
go
you.
again.
But no,
Here we go
because
again.
here's the thing. No, because here's the thing. Like, hasn't it ever crossed your mind that if you go to your friend's house in the middle of the day, whatever, that they could actually be making love to their wife?
Okay, hang on,
or
hang on,
something?
hang on.
You know,
Okay.
like there are things
I know,
that
I
people
know.
do.
I'm
that you
with you,
can't just
Rod. I'm
go
with
and
you
knock
on
on
this.
the door and say, "I'm here."
I'm with you on
You
this,
know?
but don't you think that maybe they think that you're too close to even consider these things? Maybe they consider you like family, you know, that they don't need to announce their presence.
Then
You know what I'm
why
saying?
don't they invite him? Why do they have to
Dude,
come
dude.
to
Yeah,
his
okay, all
house?
right, okay.
Hold
I don't know
on,
about his
hold
friends. I
on.
don't know about his friends.
Hold
I don't
on.
do this to all my
Hold on.
friends, but there are people that I can
Hold
do
on.
that
I
to.
don't.
Like for example,
I
Yoda.
don't do that. I
flip
don't.
phone.
I don't do that
I
to
can
my
do that to
family
them.
either.
Same.
And
I don't do
all
that
right.
to my family
I
either.
have to
Like,
be
I mean,
invited.
you know.
You know, I can't just
Yeah,
show up. I
no,
have
no.
to be invited.
I'm not
It's-
talking about
it's-
being invited either. I'm like, at least give me 15 minutes to put my
No,
underwear
but the thing
on,
is,
or at least you know.
don't just like
come on,
assume
right?
that you're wanted. You know, they want you to be there. You
Baka
have
nag-aaway
to.
yung mag-asawa, di ba?
Exactly.
Or baka
True.
baka may malaking issue sa bahay. You know, you don't know, and then you're
Well,
there.
yeah,
and you're
that's
like,
a
no.
valid
You
point.
can
That's a
just
valid
text the
point.
person, man.
That's a
You can
valid
just
point.
text. It's uncomfortable. I don't like
Well,
entertaining people.
in this
where
day and age,
I'm not
I think a text wouldn't be that much to ask
right.
for.
Text na
At
lang.
least yeah.
Pwede
'Cause
dumaan.
there's like
Okay
phones
lang,
now. There's like internet
you
already.
know.
You can just like send them
Because, I
a
mean,
message, a DM on like the
because-
messenger or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get your
I
point.
hate
But
that
then
too.
back
I
then,
I hate
okay.
that.
You know what I
People-
hate about it most, Rod?
People do that
It's
because they
the
think you're too
cleanup.
close. That you're
It's the
family.
because
The
you know
cleanup?
people assume that your house is guest ready,
You're gonna,
and
you're gonna
in
feed them.
reality, your shirt is like hanging on the the dining room
oh,
chair.
My
yung
wife
bra,
hates
nandyan yung
that.
bra
You
na
haven't-
asawa
now-
mo,
you
you
haven't
know.
exactly. You have to clean up, and then you have to.
No,
have
but
to
I but
prepare
but
something for
Ice is cool.
people.
Ice is right when it comes to that. Ice is right. Like if there are people that you consider like family, like,
Ah, yeah. Well, that's a different. That's
you know,
an
like if it's
exception.
Iceman or whatever. Like I really like. I'm not gonna put my best shirt on.
I
for, like,
think
Ice
my
or you,
mom.
whatever.
I think
Like,
my
I'm
mom
fine.
hates that.
But what I'm
I
saying
think my
is-
mom hates that. It's just that maybe me and I grew up with two brothers, so there's like three of us, right? We're all
Also,
boys.
you have to take into
And then my
consideration
father
that
didn't
Iceman
really-
is very friendly. He's a very friendly
Yeah,
Yeah, and my
person.
dad too. My
Ice.
dad didn't really
He's
care.
very social.
Like I grew up in a
Social.
household where my dad was so cool. He was just like cool with everybody, you know. So anyone who comes to my
Yeah, yeah.
house, it's not really an issue. Like I've had, but it's not all of them. Like I'm telling you, there are people who could do that to me, and I would never mind. Like any time of the day, it doesn't matter. Like in the middle of the night,
Where do you live
3
again?
a.m.
So
I would.
if
Well, I
ever
lived
you
in
guys,
Midland.
if ever you guys want to drop by for a quick meal, Iceman is happy to accept.
Yeah, I know. I
No,
don't
he's
know,
not
like,
gonna. It doesn't mean
I
he's
don't-
gonna prepare a meal. He'll probably give you juice or something.
It's just it's.
At least
I
a
don't know,
snack.
man. It's because maybe my dad was just too liberal.
May mga tao
about
talagang
these
ganyan,
things,
yung mahilig sa ibang tao din, like
Exactly.
they like
So
meeting
it's
people,
not- if
talking
somebody
to
comes-
people.
Like for example, if somebody comes, like for example, Yoda came. Like there was
Mm.
this one time that I don't know, not Yoda, but this other guy whom I cut ties with. He came to the house at around 3 a.m. in the morning,
Wow.
knocked on the window, and we're all sleeping. My dad, my mom, and we all sleep in the same bedroom. Right? We have this huge bedroom because we like that's how we are. We're like the entire family is like one room.
Excuse me.
We have spare rooms, but we never sleep in our own room, even when we were kids, because we always want to be with our parents. So the context here is that we are in the same room, and I was already like in
Yeah.
my teen years, like late teen years, like maybe 18, 19 or whatever. And my brothers are also in their like teen years as well. So we were all like staying in the same room, and all of a sudden there's a hard knock on the window. Bum, 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 bum. This is at 3 a.m. So we're like, what's happening? What's happening? What's going on? So everybody woke up. We opened the door, and it was him. It was like, oh, what happened? Like, oh, he had a fight with his dad or something, and he was thrown out of the house.
Are you
All
close
right.
with the
And
guy?
well, yeah.
At
Well,
the
well, at
very
that point,
least?
we were.
Okay.
I think we were close. Like I considered him a
Okay.
brother
Okay,
up
well,
until
there's
we,
that.
we cut ties.
Kala
So
ko
it was like, all
random
right, fine. So
classmate
what
lang.
happened? No, it wasn't random. He was like pretty close to me up until that thing happened. Like I told you, we cut ties. So my dad woke up. My mom didn't even like, like, oh, what happened? Like, oh, I got thrown out of the house, and my girlfriend's with me, blah blah blah. And all right, okay, there's a spare room there, like nobody stays there, so you can stay there. I think they stayed like just overnight, I think. So it was like, like like that would probably be like if you do that to somebody else, like if you do that to Yoda's family, maybe that would be it would probably be different,
If you do it to me, I'd
or
be
to
like,
flip
go
mode,
find a room
right?
somewhere.
So that's
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So
It's not
maybe
your
that's the context of
responsibility.
who I am right
Yeah.
now, because if my dad was like
Yeah.
so cool with all these things, so
Like
it's
I
like,
said,
all
you're
right,
a
I get
very
ice.
friendly
it's
guy.
I get ice.
but
My
not all
in-laws
people
are
did
like
that to
that.
me.
My in-laws are just like they're like your family. My wife's
Yeah,
family is
right?
just like Iceman's
Because they have
family.
three
Like
boys too.
like
Because they have three boys, right? It's like almost the same
It's the
setup.
same. It's the same way. My mother-in-law, my father-in-law, like literally, I if you have nowhere to run, you can run to them, and even if they have absolutely, let's say at that time when they have nothing, they will still take the shirt off their back and
Yeah,
give it to you. It's like,
right.
and I
Yeah,
envy
it's
it.
the same. It's
I
the same.
so envy it because it's so admirable. And that's why I'm like that's why sometimes when I look at them and how their family functions, I'm always like, thank God I married my wife, because like at least there's balance in my children. My children will grow up in an environment where my family's kind of messed up and like we're all over the place and we don't really have the family norms. We don't really like eat dinner together or whatever. But they can see their mom's side of the family and they're like, oh my God, these are like, I mean, they're the nicest people in the world, and they're not, they're not like super wealthy that they can, they're a regular family, but it's like I envy that. And I'm not saying like I don't appreciate that. I do. I just don't have the capacity for it. I don't have that genetics or the DNA to be able to have that patience where, it's like you're about to take your nap and Rad. I'm like, oh crap. I'm like, I'm in my home. It's my
I know,
comfort.
right? Leave me be.
I consider my home to be my comfort. If I'm living in
I'm
someone else's
definitely
house and I get that
I'm
crap,
definitely
okay.
with Rod on this
But my
one
house is my
because
comfort.
You have friends like that?
That's my
Well,
comfort.
at least
Like,
my friends never really did that. Like they would like they would
dude,
come, like, except for those emergency stuff. They would never
not
come to
really.
my
No,
house
they
when I'm
won't.
taking a nap.
No.
And
To
just
be
like
honest,
bother me.
they don't do it. They don't do it that way. Like Mamay, Lenore, Mamay, who joined us a couple of days
Yeah.
ago episode. Like he has a signal. He goes like this.
All right.
So he
So when
does
you
that.
hear
He
that,
doesn't
you
say
come out.
ayo or
So
whatever. When I
all right.
hear
So if he
that,
doesn't,
yes,
if you
like,
don't come
okay,
out, then all right. So that's
it's
understandable
okay.
that
It's
you're doing
okay.
something or you're taking a nap. All right.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
So that's
Okay. I think I
fine. But
did that too.
like that was like they have the
I think I
senyas,
did
right?
that.
Like
Like, no,
yung mga
not the
ganyan,
same. It's like
ganyan
I'm
na
the one who
senyas or
bothers. I'm that person who would bother people. Like I think
right.
I went to Yoda's house unannounced because it was a random Sunday, and I was so bored. I was like, "Oh man, where am I gonna go? What am I gonna do?"
But
So I
dude,
went
these
to
were
his
your barkada
house.
days.
I know, but
We're talking
yeah,
like what if
that's
he's married?
well,
forgivable.
What if he
thankfully
has
we have
kids? You
we
know,
have
I'm
sort
doing
of
that.
like a
Yeah, yeah.
he was
Barkada
like
days,
doing
it's
his
okay. But pag
laundry.
may asawa na,
He
wag
was
mo nang
doing his
storbohin yan ng
laundry,
ganyan, di ba?
and I went there, and he was like, "Ooh, son of," this was his reaction, "Son of," because he was like in his
You were like
pajamas, he was
there.
like doing his laundry outside the house, and I just showed up there. I walked in the gate; it was open, and he was like, "Whoosh, son of."
Sabi na
Sumigaw na
magtitiis. Sabi na magtitiis.
And then like, "Oh, you want to go somewhere?" And it was like, "Yeah, I'm still doing my laundry." I'm like, "All right, cool. All right, you just told me like go inside."
That's
My
barkada
sister's there.
days, man.
My sister's
That's
there. My
barkada
mom's
days.
there.
That's
Just talk to them.
fine.
I think they had a party the night before, so they like offered me food or whatever. But I think I did that one.
For I,
at
you know,
one
those
point.
those kind of stories, I actually kind of envy those stories because I never experienced that as a teenager, as a child. I wasn't really allowed to visit other people's houses. Maybe that's why I have this like concept, like, why do you have to be in my house? What is it in
Yeah, I think so.
my
I think
house
so. I
that's
think
not
that's
in
yeah.
your
Yeah.
house?
You're
Yeah,
used to being
exactly.
alone.
Right?
You're used to, you can
Yeah,
function
yeah.
being alone.
But
I
hearing
think
those
because
stories, you kind of
it's who you are. It's who you are. Yeah.
yeah,
So it's like me. I'm
exactly,
like
Yes,
I
which
can
he
go to
is.
people's house. So, oh,
Yeah,
you can come to my house. It's fine. Like,
that's my point. That's why you're
You know,
super chill because you're
I s-
naturally very chill and friendly.
you can
But
be
for
a
those,
politician, man.
yeah,
You can be a politician
for
because I
sure.
remember my mom. She had a friend, and I think it was Councilor Luz Ilagan who went to our house, and I think before she ran for councilor or something. I remember she talked to my mom, and like I spoke to my mom after. Oh, what was that about? And my mom's like, they want me to join. They want me to run for councilor. They want me blah blah blah. And like my
Mm.
mom's like, no, that's not for me because she had a lot of politician friends, and she's like, no, that's not for me. I don't want to wake up in the morning with a line of people outside, or I have to give them all coffee and feed them. Like that's not for me. Like my mom is an outgoing person. My mom like does ballroom dancing, does all this crazy stuff. She has a buttload of friends. She doesn't pick people. She doesn't care where you're from, how rich or poor you are. She will be your friend, but she has her limits. And when she said that to me, I'm like, wow, I did not know that. I said, why? If you become a politician, don't you have like an office? Like, no, you have to have an open house. When people need favors from you, when you're campaigning, whenever you literally have your house is an open house. It becomes public property. And I'm like, really? And she said that's the side of politics that she couldn't. So she did not even consider it. And I was thinking, okay, then this is already my mom. This is like my mom's super outgoing. My dad is the loner type. So I'm like, okay, if my mom can feel that way, I didn't feel too bad about myself feeling that way. But when Iceman said that story about like with Master Yoda and all that, man, that's fine with me during the barkada days. Like I said, my friends have senyas and whatever. But pero kung may asawa na, may mga anak na, you kind of like have to let them know ahead of time. You can't just show
True,
up and
that's
say, "Bay,
true.
pwede makitulog dyan. Bay,
Mm.
nag-away kami ng ano, pwede matulog. Bay, may pagkain
Unless
kami
it's
doon,
like a
pwede humingi ng
super
bigas."
emergency, maybe, but like,
Yes,
you
unless
know,
it's a super
random pop in,
emergency that
yeah.
my
I don't think that's cool.
because it's
There's
not
not at
cool.
3 a.m. in the
It's
morning.
an ano na kasi,
Did
it's an
somebody die?
imposition.
If
It
somebody
becomes
did
an
not die,
imposition on that
get the hell out
person.
of my house.
I know, right?
Lumayan.
Unless may
No, no, no,
Who
nasusunog
died?
or something.
Please
Look,
tell me somebody
here's the
died. Because
thing.
if there's nobody who's like
I'm
dying in
not
your
gonna kick them
family,
out.
get the fuck out of my
I'm not gonna
house.
kick them out. But it's like I'm not gonna kick them out. But I'm just saying, what if, like I said, I'm in the middle of a, or we're doing
That's true,
something,
that's
or
true.
it's a bad time. I mean, kung okay lang, I'm just sitting here playing video games. Go ahead, come in. I'll give you, I'll prepare something for you. But like I said, it's better if you announce it.
I think it's common sense.
Baka
Yeah.
wala
Like,
rin,
I think it's
di ba?
common sense now.
Baka wala
Like,
rin sa bahay. Baka wala sila sa bahay.
Tsaka
Or baka
tama
may
yung
bisita
point ni Rod
sila.
na what if like may problema sila na mag-asawa or
Yeah,
like there's a
nag-away.
crisis
It's
in the
uncomfortable,
family.
right?
Yeah,
You walk in
exactly.
the
And they
house and
have
like
to like
nagdadabog yung
adjust
wife.
for you. Yeah. Imagine
Yeah,
that.
it's tough, man.
But
That's why I
it's
always
a whole
my advice my advice always is if you're gonna get married, first thing you do before you get married, move out of your parents' house. Don't ever have your first few years of marriage living with your parents because makikialam at makikialam yan. And even if they're not
bahay nila
gonna get
yun
in the
eh.
way, you're
Mm.
one of you, the one who's not living with their parents but living with their in-laws, will have to keep a lot of emotions in. Like, for example, if I have an argument with my wife and I'm living with her parents, you think I'm going to raise my voice? You think I'm going to stress my point? You think I'm going to let my wife cry and her mom and dad see her no matter who's wrong or right? So it's going to create a lot of tension. And I think that's the thing with me. It's like my first goal was like, I'm not going to get married until I have my own house. And I can like freely discuss things with my family, with my wife and my kids without nosy people around. And that's why it's a comfort zone. When you're at home, it's your comfort. People shouldn't have to put you in an uncomfortable position, like showing up, out of because that's part of Filipino culture, diba? It's like, uy, yung pinsan nyo na kailangan nila, wala silang matulugan ngayong gabi. So everybody will make room. I'm sure Iceman's family will do that. Is that what is that? Jolly spaghetti?
Yeah, I was like, why is this lid here?
I knew
lid
it was
on
Jolly
there.
Spaghetti. I knew it was Jolly Spaghetti. I saw you opening it like, is that Jolly
I know.
Spaghetti?
What is this? Why is this here?
Pasimple ka lang ng product placement, ha?
May deal ka na ba, Pinks?
No, because I was like,
Do you have any
family
did
pan
you close any
doing
deal
here?
that you don't know about?
While we're at it, this is my mother-in-law's gift from my wife.
Masosyal.
We haven't
Parts
given
and
it,
Masosyal.
we haven't given
Alright.
it yet. Yeah, it's
Oh
a
my
blouse. It's just a
gosh.
blouse. But anyway.
There's like a ton
Yeah,
of
there are a
random
lot of
things
like
on my desk.
A lot of
about
toxic.
this one?
Okay,
How about
another
this one?
toxic Filipino culture. Okay, go.
Filipinos are shy to get the last piece of food. I attribute that to
I think I read that.
nature.
Yeah.
Oh, we already read that? Sorry.
Yeah,
How about this one? In the context of
That one.
parent-child relationship, the mentality here is to have children so that they can take care of the parent someday. That is why there is this mamuy boy thing in that context.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
here's
why.
the thing. In Japan, one of the kids are bound, or I think they ought to like take care of the parent. I think
One
it's
of the kids.
eldest.
So if
One
there's
of the
like
kids.
5 children,
It's like I think it's mostly the
The
eldest, especially if you're a guy, if
that's a
if you're a
big thing to
male,
ask.
then but no, but then you get the house, you get your parents'
Okay,
stuff and
ex-deal.
whatever, you know.
All right.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it's
Ex-deal.
like an
Okay.
like that's why most of the firstborn, especially if they're males, they kind of like live with their with their parents, especially when they're already old, because they get a house, because that's part of their culture. Like somebody, but I know people too who put their parents in nursing homes. So maybe it's just for people who are really hardcore Japanese or like still doing this, but I think it still depends on the person. But I think mostly it's like I think that's how it goes. Like one of the kids is should ought to take care of the parents.
Is that
when
how
they're
it
old.
is here in the Philippines? It's here in the Philippines. I think it's the youngest that's supposed to get the home, right, or something like that.
It's usually the
Is that
babae. It's the babae, the unmarried
Oh
one.
yeah,
Yeah, that's
I think it's the
what they say,
youngest. Yeah,
dapat magkaanak ka ng
Yeah, I
babae
think
para
it's the youngest.
mag-aalaga sa'yo when you get old.
that's
That's
kind of
the
sexist, right?
expectation.
You think that's
I
sexist?
know, I know.
Yes.
Yeah, but
That's
that's
sexist.
the
There is.
expectation. I'm just
Yeah.
saying it. Yeah.
That's true.
Dapat
That's true. It is.
puro lalaki ang anak mo, dapat magkababae ka
Walang
para
mag-aalaga
mag-aalaga
sa'yo.
sa'yo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
That's
I
the
feel
con.
bad.
That's
I feel
that's
bad for
what
the
they
true.
do.
daughter.
Yeah.
I feel bad for
It's
the
like,
daughter.
But I don't know
they-
about my sister, because I think she took it upon herself to actually just be with my mom and actually be that person. So me, I don't have any problems if she gets everything what my mom has, and I'm cool with it. Like she deserves it, because like so yeah. But well, I don't know. I mean, we did not like we did not give her that responsibility, but I think she just took it upon herself to like to be
Is
with my
favoritism
mom.
among kids like a Filipino thing? Yung may paboritong anak, paboritong
Okay,
apo. Is that
kayo
a Filipino thing?
well, not
tricky,
Ice.
tricky.
Not Ice,
Tricky.
because you have one kid, so you have no choice. But I mean, you don't really have
No,
a choice.
for my family, my
Your kid
father
is your
didn't have a favorite. At least in
No,
my family, there's no
you didn't feel it?
favoritism.
You
No, I
didn't
didn't
feel it? You
because
didn't feel like
I didn't feel it.
okay.
My
Maybe
dad knew my.
Maybe Kakay was
No,
the baby,
we
right?
all
'Cause
loved
she was the
her.
youngest.
So we all loved her. So it wasn't an issue.
So it wasn't
'cause,
like okay. I
yeah,
got it.
everybody loved her. So not just my mom and dad, but also me.
So
and
nobody
my
felt
brother in
jealous
Canada.
of anything. Yeah.
I think
yeah.
I think DJ Miko is like feeling that a little bit, like up until now. So that's why I'm always pissed at him. Like, why are you
Okay.
doing this? Like,
Because he's like
he
he was like the youngest boy.
Are you the eldest?
Yeah, because he would
Ice?
like. Well, I'm the
You're
eldest.
kuya, right?
Because-
You're
because
Yes,
now
he is. He's the kuya.
I'm the kuya, yeah.
super
So
kuya.
so the thing is, like, even up until now, DJ Miko or Aldon would like say things like, palitan na po di mo MacBook si Kakay, whatever, and I always keep it's like, what? It's none of your business.
no?
No, I mean,
no?
I mean, my mom would play her
Hatag
stuff,
og
like
MacBook.
cameras. No, I did not give her a MacBook. I can't. I don't have the money anymore.
Like your mom,
I-
your mom.
My mom bought her stuff, and Aldon would always complain, and I always say, like, that's none of your business. I mean, if mom decides to buy her whatever, that's none of our business, none of your business. That's that's mom's, that's mom's decision, not yours.
Spoken like a true kuya, man. Spoken like a
All
true
right?
kuya.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
that's
And
just
so
you with your kuya
Pero,
vibe,
I
right?
always tell her
you
that
have 2 kids now, right? Is
Right,
that
yeah.
real? Is that a thing? Do parents have favorites? In your case?
Favorites? Well, Raj is the one that I noticed that I clash a lot with Raj because we're the two that have a lot in common. Like he has a lot more in common with me than his mom. All his even his flaws, it's all me. Yung nagko-complain lagi or like
yeah, but I think what Pinky's
procrastinate.
asking, like,
Do you have a
like, do you have
favorite?
a favorite?
So-
Like,
Do you have a
So
favorite?
right
He's gonna
now,
say, of course not.
I remember. Right now, I'm gonna say like when it comes to like when you say favorite, I'm gonna have to say I have a more of a relationship formed with Raj because he's older. We've been through a lot more together. Diego's still a
because the second
baby.
kid is
He's
still a
not
baby,
really
right?
like a person.
You can't really
He doesn't have that personality yet. So I have that parental care and love for
But no,
him.
but how about you with
when
your
it's
parents?
connection,
Like, how was it?
It's Raj.
Because I think it. I think it.
I'm not. I'm a
all,
Lola's boy. I'm a Lola's boy.
Same.
And then, all right, okay.
Same.
Because I
I'm a
think you
Lola's
you
too.
do what
I'm a
you
Lola's
like
boy.
you do the things that what you saw growing up with. You know what I'm saying? So if you have that
you mean if I
while
felt
growing
okay?
up, and
My dad's favorite. My dad's favorite was my eldest sister. I mean, they were the ones who lived
right,
together ever since my
but it
eldest
wasn't that
sister left
obvious.
lived
Yeah,
with
it
my
wasn't
dad.
really that obvious, right?
But
Like
yeah,
he
was
wouldn't
it
tell it to
like
your
It was
face.
kind of
you
obvious.
Like,
would
It was
oh, your
kind of
sister's like
obvious.
this, and
It was
and
it was
you're
obvious.
useless. You're an,
Um,
but he doesn't
no, it
say
was
it to your
just
face. Yeah,
no, it wasn't like that.
he's not
No.
cruel.
He doesn't. But
All right, so then
my dad was like
because
kind of. I remember
I know some people would like really say to
the
your
first time
face
I
like,
moved with
oh,
my dad. It was like
insult you.
he was a little medyo conscious of things that he did when I was around because he didn't know how to live with me yet. You know, like he didn't know. Like so he would just buy me
Pero
stuff to
diba,
make me
Rod,
shut
you're
up.
the only
I guess so.
boy.
He didn't know how to be. I was the only
Hold on.
boy.
Yeah,
I
you're
have
the only
half.
boy, right?
I have siblings from my dad's,
I mean, with your mom and
second
your
marriage.
dad,
But
you're the only boy, right?
with my batch, yeah, it's us. It's
Yeah.
us. But I have two sisters and a younger brother as well. So there's like probably
Mm.
six of us. But I'm the youngest, and the next like my younger sisters like we're 10 years gap. So I was 10 years old before. So
You got
I
another
didn't really know how
sibling.
to be a kuya. I really didn't know how to be a kuya because I was like hands off when they were growing up. I wasn't really making any decisions for them or whatever. Not like Iceman where he really was a kuya. So mine was like, and my dad was like, my dad was always kind of careful with me. I
Mm.
think I think he knew that I was a lola's boy, and he didn't want to interfere with that. And but I think medyo may tampo rin, that it's something that he cannot change, and he would feel it with me, I guess, because like, I don't know if I wasn't affectionate or whatever with him, but I think that's it's like if I have an issue with my dad has an issue with me for sure because he probably felt like okay, he's my only son, but he's living with me, but I know he's not as comfortable. Like I never like jumped on my dad and hang on his back and do the typical stuff that Raj would do to me. So we didn't have that kind of a relationship. And I think it's because of my Lola, because my and that's why I'm saying also it's like if you have a family and the grandparents are there, it's a good thing that they're there to advise, but sometimes they become the security blanket of the kids that you lose your not authority, but your relationship with your children because they they're more affectionate and they get closer to the grandparents. And that's what happened to us. We grew up in my Lola's home. My mom and dad never really had their own home. So you sometimes you end up respecting the grandparents more because it's their house. It's like, even though my mom was successful, my dad was successful, it's like I was looking up to my grandmother. So I'm a Lola's boy. And I don't know if that is a Filipino thing, but apparently I noticed with a lot of
Oof.
African Americans or black Americans, a lot of them are really close to their grandmothers. Like grandma, mama's house, big mama's house. Like
Mm.
they have that culture. The black Americans have that culture where they are very close to the grandparents, because think when they look at their grandparents, they're the ones that kind of had to go through the racial, those ages where racism was adamant and everything. And a lot of them, maybe their parents were like crack addicts or something. And the grandparents were the ones that rescued them while their parents were going to jail and all that. I'm not like trying to be, like stereotyping here, but I'm just saying it was the grandparents that was the foundation. And a lot of Filipinos, for a while are still like that. How many Filipinos out there still live in their grandparents' house? You live in your grandma's house, right, Pinks? When I'm mistaken?
Yes.
Or your parents' house?
My
See?
grandparents' house.
So
I
it's a
grew up
common
here.
thing.
Yeah.
It's a common thing. I have friends who still live with in their grandparents' house, meaning their
Mm.
parents never actually really moved out of.
Oh no no
Of
no
the,
no
and
no! Actually, no. My parents moved out
that's
when
your
they got
parents'
married. My
house.
mom moved out when she got married, but I was raised by
Oh,
my
you
grandparents,
decided to
mother.
stay. Yeah, no, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'm not. Yeah,
yeah,
I'm
not
not saying that
like
was
that.
your
Yeah,
situation. Yeah, I'm
yeah,
not saying
yeah,
your
yeah.
situation. That's not your situation. But it's like, it's like my mom. Like, but she never had to. The house was too big. Why would she have to move out? It would be just my Lola there. So she
Mm.
didn't have to. But I noticed that it creates a certain situation where it's an experience that I never had, where it's just my mom and my dad and whatever. So I just know my Lola is like my foundation. So I don't know. I think that's a Filipino thing, but
You know
there
what
are
is
Black
also
Americans that are like
distinctly
that.
a Filipino thing? Filipino time. That sucks, man. Like, have you ever had to
Oh my
attend
god,
an event that should start at 6 and you end up starting at like 7 or 8? Because,
I can't
people
even
will be
start with
like,
that.
sige lang, dugay pala umaabot, Filipino time. So
What about
everybody
having a
ends up
radio
being
show and the
late.
next DJ is not there yet, right? having a radio show. The next DJ's not there yet.
True,
You know, it's
true,
like
true.
they don't even text you. You don't know if they're gonna show up.
I would
Like-
always just get the notification that malate si blank, just add songs.
Do you
Or
leave?
like
Do you leave?
he'd be like,
Do you
oh
leave?
yeah, I leave.
Do you-
Yes,
do
I
you-
leave
do you leave?
immediately. Immediately. I
Because
only
I
get
remember-
paid to
I
stay for 3
remember-
hours. I leave.
I remember when I was with another radio station, and there was a rule that you couldn't leave the studio until the next. It's like I spoke to my wife about that, and she was a nurse at San Pedro Hospital for a couple of years, and she said that sometimes she would cry because she would be so tired and she would want to go home, and her schedule would be like
And she can't.
like 3:11. 3
Mm.
p.m. to 11 p.m. And then she does her endorsement and she's supposed to go home. And then she'll get a phone call from one of the nurses who's supposed to be the one who takes over for the 11:07 a.m. shift.
And
But
they're late.
binaha yung lugar or something. She
Oh,
would
shoot.
cry because
Oh me, I
mean,
would
she-
cry too. What are you talking about?
she would cry.
Imagine
because
having to
it's not like
stay.
being a DJ where you're sitting there.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's not like being a
doing
DJ where you're sitting
nothing.
there
Yeah,
just
exactly.
watching YouTube
Doing
videos.
nothing. Yeah.
Nothing. Like, they literally have to administer medicine. They literally have to
Right.
wipe the butts of the patient.
They were
She'd
dealing
be
with
like,
lives.
She would cry.
Yeah, I would cry too,
Because
man,
she
if
won't
I had
leave.
that responsibility. Yeah. But yeah, I left.
it's,
Did you
but-
leave? Like after your shift? I left. I mean, I wouldn't leave the
You know,
station. Sometimes I'd
you know,
stay,
the
but
worst part
not
was-
inside the booth.
The worst part was I was always the type of guy where I was like, because my first job was like in the States and everything. So my mentality was always like, if I'm no longer getting paid for this time, I'm no longer
Yes.
responsible for this time.
Leave.
I
Yeah,
had that mentality.
exactly.
I was very, very strict about that. So even when all I had to do was like program lang ng songs, do you know how long it takes to program a 3-hour lineup of
True.
songs?
Yeah.
And it's not like
And you have to.
it's not like
you
you
have to
did
put
that
into
before they showed up.
consideration
You do that at the end of
TOA.
your shift.
The breakers. You have
Yes.
to include the
And you still-
ads. That's
I'm
work,
like,
man.
And I'm not gonna be like Nixon, where I'm just putting laklak my teeth all the
Random-
time, or all these like random crap. No, I'm conscious about the playlist, so I'm like,
True,
it's gonna
true.
take me a while. So I get kind of
It's-
affected by that. and
yeah,
I-
it kind of
you know.
kind of sucks sometimes. But hey, you do what you gotta
but
do.
hey,
And
yeah.
we're actually 5 minutes away from concluding this show. By the way, guys, this isn't a
And by the way,
plug. Yeah.
happy birthday to my son before you do it.
Happy birthday,
to Raj
Raj. Yeah, I
He's
was
gonna be
gonna.
Happy
10.
birthday, Raj.
in an hour.
Happy
10.
birthday.
Can you imagine
Happy
he is 10
birthday.
years
He's gonna be
old?
10.
Happy
Oh wow, a
birthday.
decade.
Come here. He's gonna be 10. He's gonna
Hey,
be 10, and
Raj.
all
Oh,
he can say
man.
is, "I want Robux." Look, his head's
I want
bigger than
Robux. I
mine.
know. I heard that. I heard that.
What is it called?
Look, his head's
Robux?
bigger
How
than
much?
mine. for
How much
crying out loud.
Robux? How much Robux
here.
do you need?
How much? Oh,
Ask
this is
your
Iceman.
dad.
Ninong Iceman.
Like I
By
need.
the way, Iceman is his ninong. So Ninong Iceman, what's your question? Hold on,
How
hold on,
much-
let me ask this.
How much Robux do you need?
How much Robux do you need?
How much is it? Say 1,000 pesos worth of
How much?
Robux,
400?
Robux,
He needs
whatever
400.
it's called.
Oh, charge it to Tito
400
Iceman.
Robux?
Okay.
How much is
What
that
is
in
that?
pesos?
400 peso or like 400
that much.
Robux?
$400 Robux is about $5.
Oh, that's
$5
not a lot.
bad.
400
$250
Robux
That's
is
like
like
an app, yeah.
250 pesos. Yeah, it's like
Yeah, that's not
an
bad.
app. It's like an app.
Doblehin mo
Yeah, it's
na,
like an app.
Ice. 800 na.
No. I got him covered because my sister Shasta
Birthday.
in the US, she's sponsoring I think a $25 or $50 iTunes card
Pero Rod,
for him.
what
So
are
he
Ninos
gets-
for?
Okay. Here's the thing.
What
Here's the
are
thing.
they
All right, I'm gonna give.
known
No,
I'm gonna give. I'm gonna give him
Iceman's getting him. Iceman's getting him a
Yeah.
helmet.
Okay.
A what?
The helmet
Iceman
was like
always
for the
gives him
bike.
presents.
All right.
That's for his
The
birthday.
helmet's for the bike,
the
right?
bike
Because I
part
made it. I made that deal with you. But I'm gonna. Okay. Here's the thing. I'm gonna give him 400 Robux, which is like what? It costs about 250 pesos. All right. That's not much. All right.
Yeah, 250
Give
pesos.
him
About
that.
$5. $5
Give him that. I
$4.99.
will. I'll tell.
Wow,
I'll
ang
tell
bait ni
Reese.
Ninong.
I will tell Reese to deduct it from that thing, right?
You know, Iceman's getting you 400 Robux.
What is the
All right.
thing?
Thank you.
Thank you.
There.
No, 'cause
See,
we
that's
paid for
another
this,
Filipino
like, a
culture. You
subscription of
force
this.
your kids to say thank you.
Say
You
thank
force your
you.
kids to say thank you. You say thank
No,
you.
because we
buti
paid
na
for
lang.
this like subscription or whatever. So like,
Rod,
Thank
that's
you.
nothing.
Thank you.
Robux,
That's
whatever, yeah.
nothing. You
Yeah,
know,
cool.
old people used to make us
Pasalamat ka,
sing
pasalamat
and
ka.
dance for guests.
I know exactly. Yeah.
Did you ever experience that? Like, oh, sige, kanta daw, be, kanta,
Yes.
kanta, yay, kanta. And I'd be like,
Are you
oh,
kidding
sweet
me?
baby Jesus.
I did a
what am I
break
gonna
dance.
do?
Ice.
Oh,
You know what I did a
that
breakdance for?
sucked.
My mom's
That's why
friends
we
and one of my
couldn't
mom's
wait to
friends at the,
grow up. Right?
you know
That's
where it
why.
happened? At
What?
Tanya
Where?
Oringo's
Where?
house. Tanya Oringo's house, her mom's house. Where Tanya was a
Did
little girl, and my mom said,
did-
"Oh, you showed them your breakdance. You showed them your breakdance, dude. I did a dolphin dive. Freaking
How much did you get?
freaking
How much
momo,
did you get?
man.
magkano,
Momo,
500?
dude, momo, man. I did a dolphin dive. I was like, I ate the freaking carpet. I was like, wow. I was like, crap. I hated my
Oh,
mom for that.
damn. Aw.
That was a
Well,
dolphin
thank you
momo.
is nothing.
Anyway,
It's nothing. That's pretty. That's
yeah.
pretty.
I know, Pinky. Did they ever,
Same.
did they have pictures, Pinks, of you doing your
Oh yeah,
dance numbers?
a lot. Yeah. Like sing daw be, sige, kanta kanta Little Mermaid.
What was your song? Oh, really? You
Part
sang
of
the
your
Ariel
world.
song? Were you
Mermaid.
embarrassed?
Oh
were
hell yeah!
you,
What the hell are you talking about?
but you weren't crying.
I was a
But
very
you did it.
closed off child.
But you did it.
I had to do
But you
it
did
because
it.
they were gonna hand me 500.
Yeah,
Like
but you know what? Here's the thing.
one
Here's the thing
song is
with
like
Pinky.
500.
Pinks,
Yeah.
you say that you're a closed off child and all this stuff. And I agree that you are. You are. I've seen you in
Mm.
public and everything. But you know what? I think there's a side of you that's like, if you know it's game on, it's game on. Like I said
The
myself, we are the
performer.
same way. Like
The performer
no,
side.
because
Yeah.
you've hosted events. You've hosted events. You know how crazy. You know how a lot of people I know will freaking die before they would go up on stage or mangurog, magunitog speech. But
Yeah.
you've done it in flying colors. Like I've never seen you rattled on stage, and
Yeah,
that's for
because
somebody who's like an
my
introvert. You know it's game on. You know it's game
yeah,
on.
no, it's just I just want it done and over, like I just want to go home. That's why I do it fast, I do it quick, I do it right one time because a huge part of me just wants to go home, especially as a female host. There's like it's awful because you have to wear a lot of makeup and I don't wear makeup, and they put I hosted an event at Marco Polo once, and they put like fake lashes on me, and the entire time it was like, good evening everyone,
God.
because my eyes were
See?
like glued shut.
See
It was just awful, man. It was just
Oh my
flipping awful. And I was like, and they had to
Okay.
usher me off stage because they
How come you
made
never
me
brought
wear
this up
heels.
during embarrassing stories episode? You never brought this up.
True.
It was,
True.
and it was for
Never
a
did.
big network. It was for a yeah, it was one of those phone things, and I had to host it. And they put like 3 layers of lashes on me, as if my lashes aren't enough. And they had to make me they made me wear heels. I had to be escorted on and off stage because I would literally fall. I fell a lot of times during that night. Hey, you
Are
gotta do what you gotta
do. You perform better hosting if you have a partner? I mean,
Depende kung sino yung partner.
like,
Like if
assuming that
there's
your partner
already
you have good chemistry with.
rapport,
yeah, you're right.
it's fine. But if it's like a stranger and you're like the manager of something trying to host you, that's horrible. Like
Yeah, it's not gonna work.
like
Yeah,
if it's a
not gonna work.
company party and the manager wants to host with you, like a
not gonna
complete
work.
stranger, it's gonna be so hard.
And
But
they try to overpower your presence because
Yeah.
you're so insecure. You know what I'm saying? Like, medyo loud yung voice.
yes, you know what one of my
Like, what's
pet
wrong with
peeves
you?
as someone who used to work with a microphone, it's people who yell when they
Oh,
host.
yeah.
Like, good evening everyone, why are you screaming? You have a
Yeah.
microphone, why are you yelling?
Kinukuha sa sindak. Kinukuha sa
man,
sindak, you know.
It literally
Maybe they
hurts
used
my ears.
to maybe they used to work for an AM station.
Right? Or like I don't know,
The louder
barkers somewhere.
the voice, the
better
the higher
yeah.
the TF. The higher the TF.
Oh
Yes.
man, that's just
No, but I mean, seriously,
But
if
hey.
Iceman was here, I would literally I would literally just host events if I was tandem with Iceman, because
Really?
you know I've so gotten used to. I mean, literally, I don't know if he will allow it if he would write on me, but like we would be like a package deal, and like we would only host debuts. Diba, Ice?
Yes.
Well,
May
corporate
ulterior
events?
motive eh.
Yeah, no, because I think the students would know us, you know, the kids would know, and corporate parties, I would do that. Like I wouldn't do weddings.
Wala
Like,
na ron.
if
Uy,
Ice was
graduate na
here,
mga
I'd be
kaila
like,
sa inyo nga estudyante.
no,
Graduate
but I
na
mean
na anak.
the moms, the titas, the ninags, they
Not
know
the
us.
students. They'd be like,
Are you
who are
kidding
these
me?
2 old men?
Ayun pala si Radin, right? Right, Ice? Because I mean, seriously, I'm not kidding. Like, because I don't like hosting alone, but I would rather host alone than be with somebody that I don't have
Yeah, like
chemistry
a
with.
complete stranger. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
difficult.
but with
That's
Ice, it's
difficult.
like we can be a package deal. You know, I'll take.
We
Kailangan
did
mo
one
lang
game
samahan.
with Joe. It was pretty good, right?
Yeah,
It was a good experience.
yeah. Because I think with Ice,
And there were like
we'll
pretty
do that,
girls there
we'll do
too.
the show, you know. Yeah,
And
there were a lot of pretty girls there.
Rod had a
We get
talk show
riled
with
up if there are
everyone.
pretty girls in the crowd. Like, whoa, all
We were like,
right. Hey,
all of a sudden,
Right.
all of a sudden, all of a sudden Joe was talkative.
Yeah, all of a sudden he was perky
Or
and
was he?
whatnot. It was
I
just
don't
like,
think-
oh, hey.
I don't think we get.
Hold on,
Yeah.
Rod.
What were you
Rod,
saying,
you had a
Vince?
talk show with everyone, right? You got to have a talk show with everybody.
I did.
Like
I did.
we did.
My
we,
best
we,
chemistry
we did
was with
2
you and
shows,
Ice, definitely.
and then Rod and
Yeah.
Ice, and then did you ever do one with Chuck? No talk show with Chuck.
I did one with Chuck. No. Chuck was temporary. I did one with Billy Kane. Like sometimes Billy Kane would just show up like for a morning. But the longest ones were with Joe, with Abby, with you, with
Ice.
with Judge, and then
Ice. Yeah.
Ice of course. But he wasn't my first. My first tandem I think was I even did a show with Kakai with Reese. I did shows with
right.
Reese.
See?
Reese was also a partner for
he's-
I think the breakfast show.
Because I think it's because you're
Um,
super chill. You can just.
But the first
you know.
one, the first one was Amy, I think. I think Amy was the first. But Amy would come in the show and she would sit and then I'd be talking because I couldn't see her. She'd be in the sofa talking.
Yeah.
Then I'd look at Peak and she'd be like
asleep.
she'd be like,
Amy? Yeah. Because Amy's kind of like,
she's not a morning
I don't
person.
know.
She is not a morning
she's
person.
not.
Oh, was it a
Pinky too.
morning
Pinky
show?
would be like
I think she sleeps
Pinky would like
late
have a
every
hood.
time.
Yeah, but I'd
I
be
know when
like,
Pinky has her
Rod,
hood on. When Pinky
if
has her
you're gonna
hood
talk,
on, I know she's like
I'm like, I need to like not
Yeah.
talk to you for 5 minutes because I'm
Like
so
even
sleepy.
before when
But I would
we were
like
doing the
always have
morning show,
coffee. Oh, the morning show was the hardest.
yeah. Was it?
But yeah.
What ice?
right?
What ice?
So, no, I'm.
Yeah, we did
I
the
just
morning
remember
show.
when we did the morning show with Amy, and I would come in next at 9 or 10. There were times that I did that. I think swapping of schedules or whatever. I would see Amy
Yeah.
just lying at the sofa sleeping.
Yeah.
Like you can tell that she's really tired. She's just like
Yeah,
tired and
I'm
just
like-
out of it. She's just like, I don't care.
I'm
just gonna
hosted
sleep
with
here.
everyone. I mean,
Yeah, he's hosted
but
with
then
everyone.
I think the best chemistry was with Ice. It was like if you wanted it to be like a tight show, it would be with you because like when we were doing the countdowns, that would work because Pinky's always like knowledgeable about stuff and she's always like if I bring up something, I know she'd know about it or she'd talk about Twilight, which I'd never heard of. She'd talk about Downton Abbey, which I've never heard of. So she'll talk about current event stuff that I don't know about. It's like the
Yeah, she
high
got me
tier
watching
social
that
stuff.
thing.
What?
Downton Abbey.
Downton
Oh,
Abbey.
it's
Downton
fun.
Abbey.
Yeah, it's coming.
Didn't
it's
you
coming
like
to
it?
How many
It's
seasons?
fun.
No, I did, but I like the last episode I saw was when that guy died.
Oh man.
So
It's
that
coming
really
to
turned me
Netflix.
off.
It's
So I was
coming
like,
to
was it still good after that when that guy exited the
No.
show? Was it
It-
still
The
good?
main guy?
Yeah,
the main
sure.
dude?
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
you.
So when he
not
died, what
you.
happened?
Oh, not you. Okay, not you. Okay.
The lady mourns. They have a child together. She finds love interests left and right. So it's kind of
Right.
just
But was it still good? Like after that, like
no.
is it
They
still
killed
good?
the
See,
guy.
if it's
They
that
killed
kind
the
of talk,
guy.
Yeah. So that means like after that particular episode, everything just went down.
I mean,
downhill,
it
yeah?
has its moments. Every time Maggie Smith is like on screen, it's like gem. It's like gold. It's fabulous. But like every other.
So that's
they
why I didn't
introduced
bother
me-
to check out the next
Yeah.
season because
I
was
got
like,
so
well, he
pissed.
that's
died.
Killed the
Professor
guy.
McGonagall, right? That's Professor
McGonagall, yeah.
McGonagall? Is that
Minerva.
what it is?
Yeah, yeah.
Professor McGonagall?
Yeah, Maggie.
Yeah,
Smith.
yeah.
Because
So every
'cause
time,
now
every time I
I'm,
talk to Pinky, like she'd bring up that stuff.
I
'cause I'm
do?
planning to watch it again.
Watch it again.
because-
Finish it.
no,
And
'cause-
there's a
no,
movie, Ice. There's a movie.
There's
I'm
a
gonna
Downton
watch it
Abbey
for the
movie?
first time on Netflix, and you guys spoiled it already.
No,
Is
'cause
it
like
on
Coming out on
um,
Netflix.
Is it?
I
It's
just
coming out
watched
on Netflix.
Godless.
I think
I just
this
watched
month or next month.
Godless. Godless is what's the name of the girl? The wife of that
Godless?
guy who like I mean what's her real name? What's
in
her
real
name?
life, Glory.
real life.
What's her name?
The,
McGovern.
the wife of that
McGovern.
guy who died.
McGovern. What's Elizabeth
McGovern.
McGovern?
Elizabeth.
All right, so
Elizabeth
she has
McGovern?
this-
Elizabeth McGovern.
She has this mini series with Netflix, which is Godless, and she was great in it. So, she was a cowboy. Like she was a cowgirl. Like, like it's Western. So yeah,
Elizabeth
so
McGovern
she's,
was in a
you
lot
know-
of '80s movies, wasn't she? Wasn't she
Yeah,
in a lot
she's
of
an
80s
American
movies?
actress.
she was a kid
Yeah.
when she was a kid.
No, as a grown
Yeah, she
up.
had, no,
She was
not
like
a
a-
kid. She was
No,
already
no, like, I'm
kind of
talking
grown up
about-
already.
I'm-
Yeah.
Like, okay, really? Okay, so we're
Cora?
talking
You
about the
mean
same
Cora?
person, yeah?
Hold on, you mean
No,
Cora,
no.
the wife of the old
Okay.
guy there?
No, the wife of the guy who died. What was her name? What's her name?
Oh, Mary
What's her name? What's
Crawley,
her-
you mean?
So she's young. So she's young.
Yeah, I know. So like she was a kid. So
Okay.
yeah, this girl, this lady,
Michelle.
this lady
Michelle
has a
Dockery.
miniseries.
Michelle Dockery.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, that's her. So she has a miniseries in Netflix, which is Godless, which is Western. So I'm watching that. So I'm like,
Okay.
oh, maybe I should
I'm gonna
watch
check that out
Downton Abbey
too.
again.
What are you
Because she has an
snipping?
American
Yeah, you should.
accent
What are
there.
you snipping? What is that?
Oh
What are
yeah,
you
I was
snipping?
gonna
Tiger?
tell you guys.
What's that?
Okay,
Like,
so you know how like people say that you're old when you have haplas everywhere, and I think I'm
right.
at that
Are you
point
like,
because I love
you know,
sniff
that's a
bombs.
Nixon move. That's a
What?
Nixon move. Nixon does it all the time.
No,
He has
I got
big
this. I got this
inhaler.
in.
It's just like
I first got this one in Singapore, and I ran out of it, and I panicked. I found it on Shopee. It's called
what
Rumasolve.
is
It
it?
smells so good.
Ryuma?
It smells so.
Ryuma?
It smells. It's from Heritage. I don't know if they have
Really?
this like in stores here, but I found a store
Does it
in
smell like
Shopee that
Vicks
smells.
Vapor Rub?
No, man, it smells better. It smells so
Oh,
good,
okay. Let's
and
have another episode like
what?
that, like product recommendations, reviews.
Okay,
But I
okay, yeah,
also
yeah,
have
yeah.
this
That'll be
thing
fun.
where I
I'd
was
be
thinking
interested.
another good episode would be like one of the like maybe the top 3 best things you spent your money on during your 20s. If you guys still remember.
Oh man, that's
Like
a
you
short
bought if you
list
bought
for
stuff
me.
during your 20s, like what is it? Like top 3 lang. But you have to kind of like for
Okay,
example,
top
you
three.
know, maybe you
Okay,
bought a cell phone or maybe
I have to think.
you invested your money.
Biggest risk,
Maybe
biggest
you know.
regret for me is getting a PSP because I was so intent on getting my own game
Really?
thing because I never had a Game Boy growing up. I always asked for a Game Boy. They never
But you had
give
a
me a
pink
Game Boy because it's
PSP.
bad
You
for
had
me.
a pink PSP, right?
No, it was black, but I had like the pink cover.
Oh,
I played with it
okay.
for
That's a
like I
regret.
don't know,
Okay, we'll talk
maybe a
about that.
month tops, and I got tired of it easily. I'm not a gamer
That
person.
happens.
I'm not a
That happens.
PSP person. Yep.
You've been playing Sims for so long.
Oh yeah. Since like high school. But anyway, that is a topic for a completely different show, completely different day. Because right now
So
we're
let's
about to
conclude the
wrap things
episode.
up. So first hour
Okay,
we
hold on,
had
hold
the
on.
Bisaya thing.
The irony is that Filipinos abroad do not follow Filipino time anymore. That's
Yeah, of
true.
course, because we're
They can't.
Filipinos. That's what we
They
do.
can't.
Oh
When we
yeah,
go
yeah.
You'll get
to
fired.
another country, we just
You'll
adapt
get fired.
to the new culture.
You'll get fired.
That's how we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree
Otherwise,
with Gabby D that he
Shocking,
does
they
eh?
would
program some
never
of the
hire
songs when I'm in a
Filipinos
hurry.
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. All
What
right.
was it called?
So
Jasper? Jalder? Jasper?
Jazzler.
Jazzler!
Jazzler.
Who's
Jazzler.
Jasper?
Jazzler.
Yeah, but
Jasper was
The
our
guy Jaspersky. He was
campus
like an IT
patroller.
guy. Or
Miss
IT guy.
Persky,
No.
yeah.
Wasn't
He was
Jasper
our
like
campus patroller at some point.
the computer man
Jasper
of
Fernandez.
Iron Man?
Jaspersky. Ja-
No.
No.
Ja-
I think he's talking about Iron Man.
Jarvis. Oh man. Okay.
Jarvis. That's Jarvis.
Never mind
Jaspersky.
me. Yes.
Every time you see him, all he says is "kana siya." You see him,
Jaspersky?
Kana
"Kana siya."
siya.
That's all he says.
Isn't that an antivirus?
Shout out to Jasper
Kana
Fernandez, by the way.
siya. That's Kaspersky.
Kaspersky is, but
Kaspersky,
he's an IT
Kaspersky,
guy.
Never mind
Kaspersky.
Yeah, he's an IT guy, so he's
All
lit.
right, so
I think it's
Jaspersky.
Kaspersky. Kaspersky.
Casper.
All right, so
Antivirus.
the bottom line
Right.
is
Like,
absurd, toxic Filipino culture. You know, it's
and
either you
we've
love it or
proven
leave it.
we proved a point tonight. Ice and I are pretty good Bisaya.
What is
Rod can do better.
He was
Rod
struggling
can do better.
He was
Better.
struggling. for sure.
But man, you guys are hardcore. Like you were using
That's not
like
even
deep words,
hardcore,
like,
man. Like
kagum-kum.
those are normal
Think
words.
you have to give him some consideration because I told you like he was here for what, like 6 years. Then he went to
True.
what? He went to America. He went to Germany. He went to
All
England.
over.
I think like he was all over the place. So
True.
he's pretty much
No,
more
I think the main
exposed
I think the main reason is we
English
didn't speak
than,
Bisaya at
our
home
own vernacular.
because my
our
family
own
is
dialect.
Ilocano. So my family is Ilocano and they would talk to me in Tagalog. My mom and Lola would talk in Ilocano, but not me. So so we weren't Bisaya to begin with. And I mean,
think
in
so.
terms
Maybe Bisaya is coming from
family,
friends
so
and
that's
Yeah.
the main thing.
Environment. Yeah.
yeah.
True,
So it's
true.
yeah.
But we're not Tagalog like Manila Tagalog. It's like pretty much Davao Tagalog. We're not like Manileños. We're not like Tagalog people.
I get what you mean.
But
'cause
I
I have people here.
I am so
like, there are
surprised though
people
that
here.
people really
Mhm.
say saklolo with what I
They do. That
Wow,
was
that's
my
the
cousin.
first-
Like all of a sudden, like freaking
That's
out.
wild. I
And
thought that was like
she was
just in a
calling me.
movie.
She was calling me, Ari, Saklolo. It was legit. It was, it was a real thing. And I was like, I didn't know how to react at that point. I was like, should I laugh? Because
You
Like,
did.
is
Dude,
it real? Because we
I
only
was
read that in
thinking.
comics.
I was
We only
thinking
read that in
I know,
comics.
right?
Diba? Sa
Comics,
we read that in
on
comics.
TV.
Say paglaban
I
mo.
didn't know how to react at that time. I was like, I ran, but in my mind, I was just like, I was laughing inside. I was like, what the hell did I hear? I mean, I heard, did I, did I hear that? Like, did I hear that right? Saklolo, saklolo. She was actually
If
saying
that
saklolo the whole
if that
time.
was in Davao, it would be saklolo.
Saklolo, manyak, saklolo.
Nahuli ni Lola.
But yeah, but she was
See
shouting
what I
saklolo,
have to put up with.
which was really funny. Well, I thought that was funny because
Hey.
you don't hear that every day. That was the first time I've heard it.
That's me too.
Like,
Me too.
in person.
I can't
Personal
believe
experience.
people
Okay,
actually say that.
hold on. Let's think about it. Is there a type of humor in this world that's who has witty humor? The British, the Brits.
Yeah,
their
they do.
humor is
Very
funny, but
dry.
it's like
Yeah.
it's intelligent humor, right? It's
Mm.
intelligent
It's
humor.
witty,
It's not
yeah.
stupid like
Yes,
like Americans.
It's
If
so
you watch
hard to
like if
mimic
you watch
that.
like
It's so hard
right, it's
to
hard. It's
copy
hard.
that. Like that's
Bring
why
humor,
I love you,
Monty
Grant.
Python.
'Cause I just
Yeah.
love his, I just love his jokes. His wits is like,
Yeah,
I
he's
That's
love
why
all
I
his
love.
movies.
I love watching.
He has a lot of
Graham Norton.
sarcasm, right?
You Laurie. I mean,
Ice,
Yeah.
you should watch
Yeah,
Graham Norton
yeah.
interviews. They are the
Oh,
I
best.
know.
God, I
Yeah, I
love
watch
Graham
that. I
Norton.
watch it from time to
Freaking
time.
funny.
He's
I
like
I watch
the
it from time to
best.
time.
He's the
Yeah,
best.
and you know
he's
what?
hilarious.
You know
He's
what?
hilarious. I love it.
When Graham Norton has guests, like whether it's Tom Cruise, Ryan Reynolds, Will Smith, they are brilliant on his show.
Yes,
But when
they're
they
never
guest on
boring.
like Jimmy
That's how-
Fallon, they
Yeah,
suck.
they're so.
But
Yeah, exactly.
right?
It's so
No,
boring.
you
He
know why?
brings it
Because
out.
he makes them drink. He makes
Yeah.
them drink.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
drinking.
Loosens
They're
them up.
drinking wine during
Yeah.
the show. Yeah, the funniest one was with the Lippy. With you,
Yeah.
with
Hugh Bonneville. Yeah.
yes.
And,
what's his name?
Groundhog
Ghostbusters.
Day. Yeah.
Yeah,
Groundhog
what's his
Day
name?
guy.
Oh God. Oh.
Oh
my
my
Groundhog
God.
Day.
Ghostbusters.
Bill Murray.
Peter Venkman.
Bill Murray.
Bill
Yes.
Murray.
Bill Murray.
Bill
Oh my God,
Murray?
that was
All right.
Matt Damon. That was
Yeah.
so funny. That was my lippy, and we were talking about his lips because
Because they were so
oh my
red.
God, that's the funniest episode.
But anyway,
That
you
was
should
like
check
freaking
that
funny.
out. Graham Norton show.
Yeah.
If you're ever bored, watch it.
Even
All right,
Tom
guys.
Cruise was funny.
Yeah, he loves Tom Cruise, and he's remarkably. Did you see the episode with Seth MacFarlane?
His
He
worst,
was like laughing.
his worst guest. We were so uncomfortable.
Richard Gere.
Richard Gere.
Yeah,
Richard Gere was just like
it
not
was
getting
very
into it.
cringy.
You like
That was like
that was so tough to watch. That was tough to watch. The Richard Gere.
That
episode.
was
tough to
not
watch.
very
Yeah, but
funny.
anyway. See,
Yes,
when
all right.
I have Pinky as guest, that's what I talk about. When I have Iceman as guest, we talk about bot and yagit and all that stuff. So it's a good mix, right?
Yeah.
It's a good mix.
Not the
All
same-
Now we have the three of us. It works.
So
I mean,
there you
because
go.
You know what the
2
problem
hours.
is? When I get
15
serious
minutes.
with Ice, it's not funny. No. I just want to get this. Like, if I get serious with Pinky, it's fine. Or if Ice gets serious with Pinky, it's fine. But when Ice and I get serious, it's entertaining. That's why it's like, damn it, we can't be serious. We have to be funny all the time. Like, we always have to go back to being
No, because
silly.
here's the thing.
I don't know if that's just
we
how
don't
we
talk
are.
about things that we watch on YouTube, or because we mainly just like talk about like the okay, because you're a lady, yeah, you're a lady. So when we're talking about stuff like, okay, Graham Norton, like I watch that a lot too. I haven't seen that Richard Gere interview though, but
Yeah.
Oh, you
there were
should.
interviews
It's
that
the one
he
with.
did
that's
that I,
cringy.
It's
Don't
the
watch
one
it.
with
know,
Saoirse.
right?
Saoirse
But the thing is,
Ronan, yeah.
these conversations don't come up because me and Rod, when we start talking about stuff, it's always
I know.
those that particular humor that we kind of like, like we just like, for example, like
Yeah,
Kevin Hart.
I gotcha.
click.
I
That
gotcha.
we just like.
Yeah.
Well, did you ever watch the Deer Bra? Nobody watched the Deer Bra, yeah? Not yet.
No, I haven't seen it
I
yet.
told you to watch the Deer Bra.
Sorry.
forgot
I'll
about
check
that.
it out.
I forgot
I'll
about
the
that.
Deer Bra.
I forgot.
check it out. I'll check this out. Oh,
It
God.
just
Deer
goes-
Bra.
it just
Deer
goes
Bra.
to
Deer
show
Bra.
you
Deer
how
Bra.
much
I'll
we,
check it out,
how
I
much we
promise.
care about your suggestions. We should
All
go
right.
watch it.
The
Things. Come on.
Deer Bra.
Give the guy a break.
Seriously,
Okay,
guys, I
if there's
think
still somebody
we should.
listening, if there are people still listening, check out Kevin Hart and type Deer Bra. Man, it's hilarious. Come on.
We'll
We
check
talk
it out
about this,
after
Rod.
the
It's
show.
our
I
humor.
I promise.
Yeah. I'll watch.
promise.
I promise.
All
Right
right.
after this.
So it's 2 hours, 16 minutes, and counting.
All right. Okay. Let's.
I think we have to
Sounds
wrap
good day.
things up. People are gonna
All right,
go
okay.
to sleep.
That's
I think like 2 people are
yeah.
watching us at this point, or 1 maybe.
Okay,
My
wrapping
mom.
it up.
Perhaps.
What do you think? I think my take on the absurd toxic Filipino culture is that We still have them around, and most of the time it's just like how we react to it. I think we can change it if we react to it in a certain way. If we want to change it, because I know it's still like prevalent. Yeah, like most of for the most part, it's still happening. It's still around us. People are still practicing it. But if we want to change it, we want to turn it around. We'll just have to,
Start
just
with ourselves.
and meet it head on, and let's just react to it in a different way. Like for example, the food. If there's just one food left, just like go get it. It's like I'm gonna get it. I'm hungry. No one wants it. Like okay, I'll take it. Just do that.
Yeah.
And if somebody comes to your house and whatever, like, hey, dude,
Lock
next
the
time,
doors.
please
Hide the children.
tell me. Yeah, like you tell them, like if you don't appreciate it, like don't come to my house unannounced.
Okay.
I would really appreciate it if you would like text me or call me because I got some stuff going on. Like we can do that. We can turn it around. So yeah, basically that's my
What
take
he
on it.
said. I have nothing to say. What he said.
I think we could do an episode on like
is he frozen
wonder
again?
if stuff's dying because this generation, the millennials, hindi. Am I frozen? Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Pinky's
you're back.
frozen.
Yeah,
I don't remember.
There. Am I back?
Yep.
Yeah. Yes,
You're
you
okay.
are.
So I was just saying.
You're good.
I was just saying we should do an episode also on like. I'm back. Okay. I was just saying like we should also do an episode on Filipino culture or stuff.
Our
Like
dogs
the
are
millennials, they're not learning how to
howling.
make kakanin anymore. Like they're not.
Why would you make a
Anyways,
kanin if
at
you
the
can
end of
just
the
go
day,
out
the
and
bottom
buy
line
it?
is.
You have a point, Pinks.
But it's because it's
Why
the
would you
people
bother
who are
yourself
passing
making
it.
Giliman ka
something that's
magdok-dok
so
o
hard to
kunsa
make
maghalo og lapik pag sure.
No, but
when you can just go to the palengke and buy one?
It will
What's
die.
wrong with you, man?
It will die. It will die.
No,
because
I mean, there are people whose
this
livelihood.
generation, they're not gonna. It will die. It will die a natural death. So,
Well, do you have the patience
Let's
to
do
make it?
that.
think it's
Let's
gonna
die?
do
The
that
patience to
some
make
other
it?
day. Yeah, that's a good topic for another day.
All right, okay.
But
All right, okay.
yes,
Yeah.
thank you guys for hanging out with us. It was a fun show. I love the first part. I love, being able to speak in Bisaya. It's not every day that we. Yeah, we kind of figured, Rod.
I told you.
We
Hated that part.
Yes.
All right, thanks. I have a surprise for you, though. All right, okay. So, yes, thanks a lot for joining us. This has been Iceman.
What's the surprise?
Dear bra, let's watch that. Dear bra. All right. Rod Rodriguez.
Yeah. And I'm Pinky.
No, the surprise is after this. Like when we say goodbye.
Okay.
Right.
Okay, I gotcha.
All right, okay.
All right, so we got Ice.
It's not a
Rod,
surprise.
We're
It's
done.
a surprise, but all right. So we're out of here. Good night, folks.
Bye.
Thanks. See you Monday.